Hello, chat. Give me 1 second here because due to power outages, some of my stuff was not online here. As chat can see, we do have a new art piece. Found a way. Feel the sun from the sky. Long live that day when I decided to fly from the inside. Uh-oh. Give that a second, chat. This is because I had to resize things for the 2K format. Also, we did just get the go live tweet out. Do me the favor, go give that some love. Apologies for the flashbang here. There we go. Type, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Chat, can we get some love for 15 months from Type? I'm gonna do a lot of talking today, so let me refill my water. Okay. She's dancing again. Yes. All right, let's see. We got that. That's fixed. I think should be good. All right. I think we're good to go. Sorry for running a little bit behind here today. Grab you guys today's sauce. There is today's artwork. Only flashbang, yeah. Okay, should be good. Oh, hold on. Definitely my camera got reset. You can see I'm back to my normal pasty whiteness. This is actually like too white. I'm not this white in real life. Come on. There we go. All right, should be better. And hello, everybody. Cat is no longer affected by a command code. Yes. Sorry for not streaming yesterday. I don't know what it is, but it's been the same crap that I talked about back in tax season where I've just been like super tired on Mondays. So I've just been kind of like taking it off. That'll probably stop next week because I'm going to be taking next week off and the week after. Now, what does that mean? That means I'm taking vacation from work. That does not mean I'm taking vacation from you guys. I mean, I probably will still take a day here and there, you name it. But at the end of the day, if anything, me being on vacation should result in you guys getting more stream time rather than less. I cannot promise you that all that stream time will be at an hour of your choosing. It will be at an hour of my choosing. So it may be the case that you guys don't get to watch extra hours, but it is what it is. Isn't the FGO Anni stream next weekend? And he's on the 5th? Yeah, I was going to say, we should be having it fairly soon here. I wanted to kind of go over Anni because people have been asking me to cover it again. Like, I definitely gave you guys a little bit of a primer already for it, but it was not a like comprehensive deep dive. So we're going to be doing that today. Probably need to press that button. You take your PC with you on a cruise? Oh, listen. Even if I did, if it were a cruise out of like out into international waters, I would not have any internet. So that wouldn't matter. Gonna play more Final Fantasy X this weekend. Yeah, I think it's on the agenda. Is probably 10, and the one that I've been picking up here on the side is, why is this taking? Okay, I have been playing some Star Wars Battlefront 2 now, and I've actually been enjoying it so far. I'm playing sniper. I've been out there trying to learn the ropes, and dear God, the sniper rifle that I'm using right now is just hot garbage, and I can tell. So it is what it is. Yeah, you'll probably get to see a little bit of that. Also, because I'll be off, it means you guys will get full access to me for the anniversary proper. Also, it looks like 4 hours left in the JP event, so make sure you guys finish everything you need to in that. But for me personally, I think you guys will get a lot more variety content, but I also have several plans outside of stream here. I'm going to start trying to get back into working out. I'm going to start getting back into like trying to cook for myself and stuff again. These are changes that I deem to be required at this point. I have to do it. It's my current lifestyle, to me, feels like it's unsustainable. Also, just FYI for anybody that cared, I did finish my last Mystic Code, so we are back all the way to Mystic Code 10 on everything. But yeah, I'm gonna try to get back to that stuff because I've not been feeling too good. I still have like some numbness in my hand, and I think that is literally from my elbow. I think it's my elbow sitting on the desk all the time and always having like my phone in hand when not. I think the combination of those factors is just making it bad. But just in the off chance that it maybe is some sort of like health related issue, it's like I'm going to try to start working out here, seeing if it helps it, if it goes away. If it doesn't, then yes, I think it's time at that point to go to the doctor. Basically, at that point, it's like I'm something like a little bit of tingly sensation on the tips of my fingers is not bad. Like I'm not going to get like super like freaked out about anything like that. But if I've exhausted every possibility I can think of to make it go away, it's like, hey, maybe it's time for a professional opinion. Did you obtain another 5 grand class resets? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be someone that's going to be hot swapping my grands too much. There may be a point at which I do use 1 grand change, but if I do, it will probably only be for caster, and that will depend entirely on the content that we have. Michelin star CAD meals hot? No, not at all. Look, I was sitting there, we were having this discussion the other day. I was leaving work, and, you know, there's an Italian restaurant, like, in downtown where I am, and I could smell it. A lot of the times I can. But, like, it was weird, right? Because this time, for whatever reason, it smelled like they were cooking burgers. And I smelled that, and I was like, man, that smells so good, right? It smells like a grilled burger is what it felt like I was smelling. So I got home. I went to go order on my delivery app, and I was like, I want a burger. And I looked and I saw I could order a Five Guys burger for like $16. And that's, if you guys have ever ordered from Five Guys before, Five Guys doesn't even come with fries or a drink. So that's $16 base. But I'm like, you know what? I got chips. I got, water. Who cares, right? So it's like $16, not that bad. But that was not my first choice. My first choice was I looked at a burger that Chili's had, and I saw that that was going to be like $26. And I was like, that's before the delivery fee and taxes. And I looked at that and I just said, these people are fucking insane. Like, I'm like, when Five Guys is several dollars cheaper than you, what the fuck is going on? Like, and so I was at that point. Yeah, just add me on the EA app, Zoo. But it was at that point that I was just like, you're fucking crazy. Like this is enough. It's like, it's not even inflation. It's literally just these restaurants are getting crazy. I'm sorry. It's the truth of the matter. It's easy to blame the delivery service. I don't like the delivery service. I don't like how much money it takes. But I'm sorry. That's on the restaurant. We're getting price gouged at this point. Restaurants are making back for COVID and all of that time. And I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't give a fuck. I have no empathy for restaurants now at this point. The amount of money I have spent getting my meals delivered is insane. It's insane. It is actually probably the biggest drain on my bank account right now. And that's saying something considering I, pay bills, including a mortgage. So when it's amounting to more than a mortgage, we've got some problems. That's where I'm just like, yeah, I've got to come up with some other stuff. I've got to get some different solutions. And like, I guess part of the issue is my lifestyle. It's like, it's me being on stream all the time, right? But at the same time, no, it's something's got to give. Something's got to change. So time for Kai to start streaming cooking. And people say that. My problem is, obviously, I've got a pretty complex setup here now. How would I even do that, right? Like how would I even go about streaming from my kitchen and then transitioning it into like the normal live stream? I'd have to like kill the stream and go live again, which, nowadays I think I'm like more okay with, but there was a point in time back in the day where I would not have been. I would have been like, whoa, no, we're not killing the stream. Not at all. Because if I do that, we're going to have problems. Wait. Give myself the right mystic code. Shit. Oh well. Send it. Reads Five Guys near me. Sometimes I have buy one get one for the burger. Yeah, and I've thought about like various smart things I can do to like cut down on it. It's just, it sucks. I don't have anybody like that I live with that can cook for me or anything like that. And to be honest, I need to get back into cooking anyways because I enjoy it. It's just like, I think one of the biggest problems I have as a single guy is just time. Time is not on my side. It never is. There's so many things I want to do and so many things I just don't have the time for. And it sucks. I hate it. I hate being pulled in 20 different directions. Wouldn't killing the stream and going live again be a problem for YouTube? Yeah. And that's where like logistically it's just an issue. And I don't know what that even means at that point, but it's just something where like I gotta find some kind of solution. When hyperbolic time chamber patch IRL? Exactly. How's it going, Fox? Yeah, it's kind of rough in that regard, but something gotta give. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be like taking some time, like trying to like get kind of like the house back in order. I'll probably like during that 2-week span, I'm probably going to try to get some like repair guys and stuff out here so that I actually have the capability basically of getting some stuff handled while I'm off work rather than having to take off work to get it handled. Move the streaming setup to the kitchen. I mean, I could. I would not want to. If I've learned anything, it's that food and computers are a problem. It's not a good combination that you want to mix. I got all my gold berserkers bond 9 or higher. Should I do the same for silver and bronze berserkers? Sure, why not? Minos, thank you for the 76. How's it going, bud? And hello, Robo. I hope everybody's doing good today. Again, I'm sorry I couldn't stream yesterday. It just was one of those deals where I was tired. I basically sat there. We did play some Battlefront. That was basically what I spent my time doing. But I'm quickly learning too. There's just some times where it's like, as a guy, you just need the time to like turn your brain off. You need the time to like decompress, stop thinking about shit, and just have fun. It's wild. Like normally that would be stream for me, but I will say there's at least some days where I kind of know a lot of people aren't going to show up. And if I don't have much of anything to do, my mentality just kind of goes in the shitter. And I basically just say like, it's probably a good day to like take off. Even if I could manage to like force myself through the like tiredness and stuff. Just woke up. Nice, agent. But yeah, I'm probably gonna like take this time as well to like reevaluate stuff for stream. Probably work on stuff like content wise, work on the Discord and everything like that. I have a video that I've put off like 2 weekends in a row that I've wanted to stream for you guys, and it just keeps slipping my mind. Like, that's how, like, mentally checked out I am at this point. You think JP will get a new event next week? JP's in a weird bit of a holding pattern. I mean, I think they've got to get something else before their anniversary. What that could be and what form that would take, I'm not sure. Could be a lotto. Could be another tower event like NA just had. Could be something altogether. Have you thought about meal prepping for a week? I've done meal prepping before. I'm not a huge fan of it. Usually what I do is I just say, hey, if I'm going to cook for a portion that can last me multiple meals and just eat it like throughout that. Rather than trying to do all of my cooking on one day, that to me is kind of annoying and difficult. Granted, I would not have to do much in the way of meal prepping because basically I normally like bring my lunch home from, being out and about. So like dinner is really the only thing I'd have to prep. Listen to the body. If it ain't in a good mood, don't force it. Yeah, no, I mean, I've always been that way. I've always prided myself on my health to a large degree because growing up, I've played, multiple sports. I've always been very in tune with my body and what it's telling me. This also goes back to, like, as a kid, I had asthma, I had allergies, so I had to pay attention to it. I had to, like, sit there and be like, okay, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling flush. I'm feeling nauseous. I'm, just feeling like I'm choking or something like that. It's like various different things, or like, hey, I'm winded, I'm out of breath, I feel like I'm going to collapse. That sort of stuff was part of my growing process as a kid. And so ever since then, I've always been pretty good with it. But you do deal with the allergies? Well, I mean, I can make an argument that I haven't dealt with them. Literally, I take my nasal spray every night, and it's really, really good. But, like we had this last week where it was bothering the ever-loving crap out of me, and I was just like, man, this just sucks. Also, chat, you have 6 more days on the tower. PSA, if you haven't started the tower, you better start now, because remember, there's a time lock mechanic and you're not gonna finish if you wait until the last minute. So just trust me, start it. Me when floor 30, yeah, you better start it right now. But no, I just, in general, allergies have always been an issue for me. They're probably the thing that still like bothers me. My asthma is a complete non-factor now as an adult. The only time it even could come into play is strenuous activity for long periods of time. So it's like I would literally have to be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go, like do cardio. That's the only time that I ever even have to pay attention to anything like that. Because I just basically at this point have sports-induced asthma instead of proper asthma. Tried to find a proper way to get rid of it. You can't really. You can just suppress your allergies. Allergies do kind of wane, I feel like, as you get to be an adult, but I also feel like part of that is just you learn more and you're more like in tune with yourself and you know what to avoid. I wonder the minimum time is needed if you have most of the servants in the game. I mean, we had people that completed it in one day, so it's possible. The reason I'm going to tell you guys to do so, though, is because I do assume most people are not that. And even if you have an account capable of that, you probably do not have the time to actually spend on it. So that is to say, it's like you don't have an entire day to sit there as opposed to having a couple of hours each day. And that's where I'm going to tell you guys, like, start now. Get ahead of it, right? I'm allergic to nuts and penicillin. Interesting. Penicillin's got to be oof. You can develop more allergies as you grow older. Yeah, allergies are weird. Allergies are just your body's reaction to things it doesn't like. So that can change. You can lose certain allergies or have them go kind of inert, or you can gain them as you get older. So it's very like weird. I'm allergic to dust and work. Hey, I'm also allergic to one of those. Dust. I think at this point, if anything, nobody would accuse me of being allergic to work. I want to be allergic to work. I want to like just veg out and not do anything, but it's so like getting old sucks, chat. You have to adult. You have responsibilities, and it's just awful. Like, you can't ever let down. It's rough. That's why, like, honestly, I'm looking forward to this vacation. And it was hilarious because the office manager came up to me today and was like, hey, make sure you keep your eye on this and this because I'm not going to be here the rest of this week. And I was like, really? So it's like, oh, so you get to go while everybody else is gone right now, but I still can't take a day off of work. Like I'm not allowed to take my vacation until my father returns from his vacation. And even then, I guarantee you, I have enough time for 3 weeks vacation, chat. I'm gonna take 2. But I guarantee you, if I try to take the 3rd, I'm gonna get yelled at by my father about how I'm not setting a good example. Your father is an IRL vacation sniper. It just is what it is. Thinking about becoming 21 this year hurts a lot. Damn. I could be Zulong's father. Supposed to be on summer break, but my boss is like, I know you're all on break, but let me expect you to come in several times for several hours. I fucking hate that. I am a firm and adamant believer that unless it is an emergency situation, A boss should basically never contact you outside of work. I am a firm believer of that. And like, I think it's one thing if the boss is like, hey, I got a quick question. Sorry to bother you. I have a quick question. It's another thing if it's like, oh my God, the boss just keeps contacting me with stupid, inane questions over and over and over again that could have been answered during working hours. There needs to be like boundaries set type of deal. I see chat found the Waka emote. Dad Roth, yes. My principal starts group chats and blows up our phones after school hours. I guess, like, to a degree, that makes sense in the sense that, like, during, like while the kids are there, the principal probably can't do anything. But don't most teachers have, like they'll work till, like, 5 and stuff like that? So, like, they have, like, a couple hours while the kids aren't there. At least I understood it to be that way. Follow, thank you for the follow. The intent is what matters. I have this happen so much. It's soul dreading. Yeah. Like I said, it's like if the boss contacts you and it's a one-off thing, I don't think there's a problem. If the boss is constantly freaking contacting you, it's like, no. That's like a management issue. Yeah, it's just some people are always on the clock. I get that, but then they assume everybody else is too, and it's like that's not the case. I'm sorry. And that's like I think like over the years watching my father work, watching the amount of time he's spent at his job, and like now getting into the same profession as him and working underneath him, I look at him and I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work those hours. I'm sorry. Like that just makes me like, ugh. So this is why, chat, I need y'all to make me rich so that I can become a full-time content creator. And like eventually I can just become the grandpa streamer, right? Right. She fell off her perch, chat. There we go. Just invest all your money in the lotto? Well, I'm sure that would benefit the children of Florida as they get lotto proceeds for their education. Would not benefit me. I don't even want like a lot of money. I just want enough to be comfortable. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. Like I could legitimately I've talked about this before. I said it actually this weekend in VIP, but in a weird way, chat, I have already lived a complete life. Like, there's still plenty of things I want to do. There's still plenty of things I haven't done. But I have already seen and done things to an extent that, like, some people will never do. And I could absolutely be content locking myself up from the world and just like only ever like streaming and video gaming for the rest of my life. Wouldn't bother me. The only thing that would bother me is literally like a lack of companionship and being lonely. Like that would bother me. But like I also want kids. So there's that. But like in general, it's like I don't have any need to like go out and like do things and like be a greater part of society. I don't have to do that for the most part because I've done it already on several levels. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't care in a weird way. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I'm saying if I never had to do it ever again, it wouldn't bother me. To make you rich, I would need some friends first to make me rich. Yo, that's an idea. What if we pyramid scheme this, chat? How about if one of you gets rich, you make me rich? And like, eventually, law of averages, this should work. Start a crypto Aurelia coin, yeah. A great value proposition. We should make a fake girl on OnlyFans as an AI. Dude, okay, so like I've been doing my CPE at work. If you guys don't know what CPE is, it's continuing professional education. Y'all know me, I'm a multitasker. I have to be doing multiple things at once. It's just how I always am, okay? So I can't just take my CPE. I can literally sit there listening to the CPE, doing the things that I need to do for it, like taking the test and stuff, and also having like a YouTube or a podcast on the side and be listening to that. I can't just do the one thing, I have to have the other. So what like one of the big things I was watching a lot of stuff about hear me out, chat. I was watching a lot of stuff about feminism as it pertains to dating. Okay. Don't shoot me yet. But before that, I was watching a lot of stuff on AI. And it was really, really funny because I'm sitting there listening to all this stuff. And like the dude that I was watching, he is this really smart guy on. And the guy is the whole time like talking about like this is what he thinks about AI, and I'm just like, wow, he's really knowledgeable. He knows the stuff. And then like modern politics keeps coming up because the guy can't stop bringing it up. The interviewer, to his credit, just keeps like ignoring every statement and just asking a different question and moving on. But it's like, it's to the point that it's awkward because the guy keeps bringing up, for instance, like Elon, right? And he's like, he doesn't like Elon. He really hates Elon. And what was funny is later in the interview, a subject came up that involved Elon, and the guy had to begrudgingly admit that Elon had done some really good stuff and he liked Elon and his ideas. And it was like watching the guy basically have to pull a 180 live on stream was like, it just made me laugh so fucking hard. And don't get me wrong, if you like Elon or you don't like Elon, I get it, right? It's fine. He's a polarizing figure. But it was one of those things that it just made me laugh. But what I also realized was, too, the guy kept kind of just spouting a lot of, like, propaganda type stuff. And I realized it's like, no matter how smart you think you are, no matter how knowledgeable you may be on one subject, you might be a complete idiot on the other side. Like, the most insane genius in one field might be a total troglodyte in another. And it really like hammered that point home for me because I was just watching and was just like, God, this guy has no idea what he's talking about with regards to politics. And then on the flip side, it's like, he's a genius when it comes to AI. So you see that stuff and you're just like, that's interesting. It's really, really like a astute thing that I'm noticing here. But yeah, like a lot of the stuff he was saying, he was talking about like, you know, like there's certain jobs we're not going to have them in like a couple of years already. Like one of them, and they were saying this not to freak any of you guys out, but like they were saying probably one of the first jobs here that's going to go due to AI is call centers. It's like so much of that is already like a relatively automated process, and apparently AI is just going to start like hammering the like basic repetitive labor market. It's like if you're not doing a skilled job, something that requires like actual like knowledge and intuition and action and like again skilled labor, like the actual act of like turning a wrench or like I don't know, like swinging a hatchet or like, you know, plumbing a drain or anything like that. It's like if you're not an actual like hands-on person, AI is eventually going to come for all of our jobs. And it's not that it's going to like make it where there is no more job. It's just going to make it where for every 10 of you, they now are going to fire 9 of you because they only need the one person with the AI rather than, oh, hey, everyone's getting fired. So it's like, oh, well, not everyone's going to get fired. The job's not gone, but the amount of people they need to do the job is vastly reduced. And it was a really, really interesting thought process because, again, they were applying it to even things like accounting and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is interesting, and I really wonder how the heck something like that's going to go. Call centers already have to stick directly to a script. They have technology that flags them for every time they misspeak. Yeah, I like one of my buddies that's in VIP is somebody that works at a call center. So like I hear kind of the horror stories of it, and it's just like it makes me sad to a degree that one, that like that's like the only kind of employment he could really get, and two, that like it just sounds like a miserable experience. Like I don't wish that on my worst foe. You get the one human to take care of all the robots. Yep. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll get more time for our own interests, right? Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of like discussion of like, what do you do about that? And to be fair, like the big thing that the guy was talking about was actually what you're bringing up there, Doc. And it was the idea that like, what do we do? Like how do we stop AI from murdering us all? And he's trying to like bring awareness to it and say like, hey, this is not some sci-fi thing. This is a real concern. What do you do when you are no longer the smartest like creature in the food chain? And he likened it, and I thought this was a really interesting idea. He likened it to the idea of like, if you want to know what it's like to not be the smartest creature in the food chain, look at a chicken. And it's like, shit. He's not wrong, right? So it's like, at what point do humans become the cattle and the AI becomes the overlord? The AI becomes the one that's running everything for us. So AI killing humanity is going to happen slowly until it happens fast. I mean, he brought up multiple things. Like, obviously, there's multiple threats with AI. For instance, like he talked about scams, like malware, phishing, viruses. All of that's going to get worse because AI can write them now. Like you've seen these programs that allow you to like use AI to generate software. If it can generate software, it can generate a virus. And if it can generate a virus, it can keep generating viruses faster and faster and faster with different variations. And AI can be applied to even make the viruses smarter. And at which point, what the heck are you doing then? Like, how do you defend against that? And at what point does it just become an unmanageable onslaught, right? Another one is the idea that, like, you know, yeah, we could talk about, like, Skynet, right? But, like, even before Skynet, how do you stop, like, autonomous killing machines from being a thing? How do you stop the government and humanity in general from just using AI for nefarious purposes? How do you stop a big country from not just being like, hey, I'm going to make a bunch of murder bots and I'm going to send them in and have them invade this smaller country? Why? Because I can. Because it's not going to cost me any of my like soldiers. Like I just can send that in as long as I have the resources. Who cares? And taking over the country, I'm going to get more resources. So there's a lot of those types of concerns. And then yes, obviously the Skynet concern is an issue. The idea of a sentient AI that can just turn around and decide it doesn't need humanity anymore. Like at what point, like when you start programming AI, for instance, I'll give you guys an example, okay? What if we gave AI a lot of power and control? And you're sitting there thinking, oh, this would never happen. We would never do that. We know. I'm not sure we do, chat. Again, the statement that Bob always likes to throw out there is, like, what was it? You weren't supposed to build the, like, the Killtron 9000 or whatever the heck it is. It was meant as a cautionary tale, right? Like the story I wrote on it. I forget what the actual phrase is, but it's like the sentiment works regardless. It's hey, just because we put it in a sci-fi novel doesn't mean it's okay to do, right? It was meant to warn you off of actually making that. But if we take this idea, what happens if we give an AI the ability and capability to do a whole lot of things, and then we tell it to solve, I don't know, climate change? And then at what point does the AI go, got it, figured it out, I know who the problem is? And it goes, humanity. And then you go, yeah, don't invent the torment nexus. There you go. We invented the hit novel, or we invented the torment nexus from the hit novel. Don't invent the torment nexus. Yes. But yeah, it's like, at what point does the AI not just decide that humanity is the problem, right? And it goes, aha, let's just kill everyone. And so it's like, he talked about, it's like, one of the things I think you've got to do is you've got to instill within AI a protective capacity and capability. Almost as if you have to instill with it almost like as if it's a parent. And he kind of drew this analogy of like, what if, you know, like you look at relationships between, like, say, a mother and her newborn child. And he said, it's like, if you look at that, the child is actually in control of the relationship because everything that the child wants and needs gets taken care of. And it all happens according to the child's needs. And he said, that's how we need to develop AI. He said, the problem is there's obviously scenarios even like that where, like, yes, the mother takes care of the child. The mother is at the child's beck and call and does everything for the child. Except in the cases of, like, irrational mothers. And then you have terrible, horrific things happen, right? Like, the child starves to death. The child is locked in a room and never paid attention to. You name it, right? Like, obviously, we don't want to think about any of that stuff, but, like, there are even scenarios, even within nature, where a mother does not act how she should. So even if you try to get AI to treat us like a child, because at that point, like with a super intelligence, it's smarter than us. It knows better than us. It can predict us. It knows everything that we need. But how do we protect against the AI going rogue and not just deciding that we're the problem? And it's a huge issue. And I, like, a little bit, it's one of those things where I've heard before. I watched that from people that said, like, that's not an issue. It's not going to happen. We would never. And the problem with this is, you know, honestly, someone like, say, Google, someone like, I mean, shit, Tesla or like SpaceX or something, right? Any one of these tech companies, like, they're going to develop AI for their own purposes, and they probably will put limitations on it. They probably will safeguard it. They're not who the problem is. The problem is governments. It's militaries. It's people that will exempt themselves from logical and necessary restrictions because they need more. They need more. And it's like, shit, what do you do then when somebody finally does build Skynet? And then Skynet decides the only way to stop a war is to take out the country that Skynet is meant to protect. Big dumb idiots are the problems, yeah. And it was really funny because I forget where this was or how, but I've told my buddies this in VIP before, but it's like, I remember reading about an issue with AI where I think they were testing AI use on military drones. And they were trying to see, like, okay, how good can we make the AI? And so they started training it and they started giving it a score. And they said, if you hit X amount of targets, you get X amount of points. You know, you get, you know, these many points per target. There's higher value targets, you get more for them, yada, yada, yada. So they turned it into a game. And they let the drone run the simulation and do the stuff. Now, thankfully, all of this was in a simulation. It was not actually, like, out there, right? Because so they do this, and basically the problem that they noticed was that the AI didn't care, and the AI would just try to rack up as high of a score as it could. And the problem was the AI would just kill civilians because the civilians were just in the way. So they would try to tell the AI, no, you can't do that. If you hit a civilian, it's negative points. And the AI goes like, okay, I'm not going to hit a civilian. And what they tried to do, too, they tried to train it as to what constituted a civilian. They had to teach it. And so in part of that process, they said, look, that is a bad target. You can't target that. And the AI said, okay, I can't target that. But after a couple of runs of that, the AI didn't learn what a civilian was. The AI instead learned that the thing that was stopping it from getting a higher score was its handler. And so then the AI said, okay, I'm going to kill my handler. And then the handler said, whoa, no, I'm off limits. You can't kill me. And then the AI goes, fine, I can't kill my handler. But I can strike the tower that the handler issues commands from. And then it can't issue me a command. Because if the handler can't tell me not to hit the target, then it can't penalize me for hitting the target. So it got to the point of it just being like the AI kept problem solving to do the thing it needed to do, but it would never accept the alternative of like, hey, don't hit that target. All it was concerned with was its primary directive, which was getting the most points. And that was the problem with it. And it's like, I'm not going to say you can't make an AI that's smarter than that. That like, you know, has a little bit more logic and reason to it, but like, that's dangerous. You have dangers with AI that's too simplistic. You have dangers with AI that's not. So what do you do? The drone turned on its commander in one instance because it was programmed in as a possibility, if I remember correctly. That's usually the case when you hear about a program doing something nefarious like that. Yeah, like, it's really, really weird that that sort of crap is a thing. But it's just like, it's a machine. It's not emotional. It's not moral. It's not... It literally learns in binary, in ones and zeros, and it only can quantify what you allow it to quantify. So therein lies the problem. And unfortunately, that's, you know, a more simplistic AI that you had to train. Nowadays, we have more complex AIs that, you know, they actually have like generative processes and learning. So we're getting to that point. Like, chat, I'm dead serious. When I was growing up, AI was the stuff of sci-fi. It was like, oh man, that's so cool. Like, God, that's amazing. Like, yeah, I mean, that's crazy if like AI or robots like try to take over the world, like the Matrix, you know, again, like, or iRobot. It's like, but that would never actually happen. And then like, I kid you not, it's like all of a sudden in the last like 5 years, AI has just boom, exploded. It's everywhere now. It used to be nowhere, and now it's everywhere now. And I'm going to tell you, this is the next thing for humanity. And like, the example that I can give you is look no further than Star Wars. Look at every protagonist in Star Wars, chat. What do they have? They have like some droid companion. And that droid companion handles a lot of shit for them. Does a lot of tasks. I predict that will be the future. That AI will handle a lot of tasks for you. AI will replace a lot of jobs. AI will be in every household. It will be a part of every complex electronic device. And that is going to cause issues. for better or worse. They've already, I think, done studies and proven that people that use, like, say, sorry, chat. There's something on my desk. They've already like done studies that have proven that like people that use things like Chat GPT are actually dumber for it. I'm not saying if you've ever used Chat GPT, you're a dumbass. Okay. What I'm saying is that people that routinely rely on it lose their like cognitive thinking. Their ability to like reason and problem solve goes out the window because they just literally use Chat GPT for everything. This is already a proven thing. So imagine now when this becomes everything, when it becomes every part of society, when it becomes every little thing you do, how many human skills are going to be lost? How much ability to critically think will be lost? It's not even necessarily that AI will be smarter than us. And I heard the guy talk about this, and it's a very valid point. It's like there is a school of thought that says that a super intelligence, okay, so something that that is actually like so smart and so capable that it's functionally like a human being on steroids, right? It has a living, breathing brain almost. It can think, it can rationalize, it can perform its own processes as is. That is what a super intelligence is, okay? There is a school of thought that says a super intelligence can only get as smart as humanity. It cannot outsmart humanity because it will fundamentally be trained and subject to the data of humanity. So therefore, it'll be limited by it. But the idea is that would still be probably smarter than the smartest human by far. Because imagine, say, you had Albert Einstein. And imagine, say, you had Nikola Tesla. And imagine, say, you had, like, I don't know, Stephen Hawking, right? Like you had just, like, all these really, really smart people. A super intelligence would functionally be all of them at once. It wouldn't be just one person that had one speciality. It would be, I specialize in everything, and I have access to everything. So they would basically be the smartest human ever made at that point, at least intelligence-wise. But the idea is that it would still only be as smart as the smartest human across the board. And this thought process was interesting to me because it's like, oh, okay, so if it is going to be ultimately limited by humanity, it's not going to be like super insane at that point, but it'd process information faster. It would have all of our knowledge, all of our capability in that sense. And it's like, that would be a super intelligence. I'm like, the danger isn't that the super intelligence would be quote unquote smarter, but it would be faster. It would have perfect access and knowledge to everything that it could reasonably exploit. And unfortunately, by the time we get to a super intelligence, and once it's established for a little while, chat, humanity peaked at that point. Because this will be the best thing that we ever made. Because humanity will be on the downhill. Humanity will be getting dumber, not smarter from that point on. That we will rely on the super intelligence to handle everything. And that we would not ever be able to exceed it ever again. Should retail stores use robot cashiers instead of actual people? As in, like, robots at the registers, not self-checkouts? I mean, I believe you can already answer that question with how Walmart and Target are treating self-checkout lines. Chat know anything about that? No? So they've, in a lot of places, they've already begun to shut down self-checkout lines because either people just don't like them and don't use them, because again, people want an actual human being, and they want the service, they want someone to do it for them, right? Or abuse. People trying to ring stuff up that is not the actual item so that they get it cheaper, or people just abusing the fact that there's no human there and trying to walk out with the stuff. So it's like, what happens in a world in which robots run everything? Well, I hope you also have robot security, because if there's no human there, who's gonna actually like catch the person doing something nefarious? If people can get away with it, they will. Exactly. People cut barcodes off and paste them on, fake scan, etc. Yep. My Walmart went all self-checkout. The backlash was so bad, they took them out. Yeah. Self-checkout is the best. If you abuse it, just go ahead and F yourself. See, you're the only person I know of that thinks that way, Zoo. And I'm not saying like you're wrong. You're the only person I know of that thinks that way. Most people that I know of actually want there to be a human there on the other end. In a weird way, I think human beings crave interaction. In the same way, it's like, a bunch of people in the stream are probably introverted, but you're in the stream and you're talking. Even introverts crave interaction, at least to some degree, some base level. If I'm in a hurry and only have a few things, I prefer self. Otherwise, it's whatever. Yeah, I where I've done self checkout is actually when I go to like the gas station and I gotta like run inside to like get something for like my lunch. It's like usually I get like an Arizona iced tea and like some soup. So like self checking that out, it's nothing. I have the little receipt that I printed out from their machine. I have my Arizona iced tea. I scanned those two things. But like, oh man, did I go to the grocery store? Fuck that. I'm not doing self-checkout for that. Buying 1 to 2 things. Yeah, exactly. I think like in any scenario, it's like if you can skip the line with it and you only have like 1 or 2 things, it's not a problem, and I think people do it. But I do think in general people prefer the actual like normal checkout. Only issues they're not accurate. Yeah. It's a full cart and I'm tired. Let the clerk do the checkout. I just walked all over Walmart. Yeah, you're not wrong. Meanwhile, that clerk is at the end of his like 8-hour shift and could not give a rat's ass and isn't paid enough to care. But no, I think this is just the issue. It's always going to be the issue with that stuff. Jesta, thank you for the follow. But yeah, so that's what I spent my time doing with like CPE and stuff. I was watching like AI videos and stuff, and I was like, holy shit, we're cooked, bro. Like we are not gonna have a good time in the next couple years. Is that like zoomed out? What the okay, weird. I don't feel like I'd overly zoomed that in that much. Imagine self-checkout at a Costco. Yeah, like who would tell you that they love you then? Like chat, sometimes I go to Costco just to have someone tell me that they love me. If for no other reason than that. Because sometimes I just need to hear that. I need to feel loved. I'm in Canada and the cashiers are usually really polite. In general, I think you could obviously get a bad person at a register, right? Like, in the same way you can get a bad person anywhere. Do you know what's going to make the difference in someone treating you good or bad 95% of the time? You. You, chat. You are what make the difference. If you treat them well, people treat you well. Again, ask the bros in VIP. The second I get my lunch break, I hop in Discord. I'm in my car. I'm going to go get something at like some fast food restaurant or something, right? And you can ask the people where like I haven't muted my mic. I always treat the people with respect. I always say please and thank you. I call them ma'am or sir. Like, I'm just genuinely nice to people. Unless they're an asshole to me. They're an asshole to me, they can fuck off. But if they're good to me, like, why would I treat them bad? It just, not their fault, right? You can save a life just by being nice. Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, in general, chat, there's always the golden rule, right? And the golden rule, as you guys know, is treat others how you want to be treated. But I think the golden rule has an issue there because some of y'all want to be an asshole. I'm looking at you, hentai man. But like, in general, like, just be kind. There's no problem with being kind to other people. I don't know. I think that's like something I'm just like trying to do better about myself, even. Like, I can be edgy, I can be angry, I can be like just pissed off about stuff, right? But usually if somebody doesn't do something to me, I'm not going to take it out on them. There's no point. Like, I'm just making that person's day worse. Calling women ma'am has backfired for me. Were they not a ma'am? Were they a they? Or was it somebody that was like, don't call me ma'am? If I'm gonna be honest with you, you can't win in the case of the former, and in the case of the latter, that is just somebody being pissy. I'm not old enough to be called ma'am. Do you know what my response would be to that? I'm sorry, milady. I'm dead serious. Kill him with kindness, chat. Absolutely. Just kill him with kindness. It will either just make the person laugh or they will just realize they're being an asshole. Maybe ma'am wasn't so bad after all. Yeah, I call everybody ma'am. I mean, that's just chat. I live in the South. It's Southern charm. If you get pissed at being called ma'am, it's like you're just insufferable. You're just a grouch. Like, that's all it is. It's because they don't want to feel old. Yeah, like it doesn't matter. I will refer to someone younger than me as ma'am. I don't care. It's not a problem. Stop trying to riz me up, Cad. No. I will never. It's just a courtesy. But God, I hate it. I'm not that old yet. Yeah, So, chat. Here's what you guys need to understand. Ma'am is just a shortened form of madam. It is an honorific. All it is. All it is. Someone is just trying to be polite. They're not calling you old. I default to miss. Oh, I feel like miss could get you in trouble more, but maybe. Again, I'm in the South, so like Everybody says ma'am. Everybody. As if you have some other title like doctor or insert military rank. While I understand that, same deal applies. Like, let's say you're a doctor or a lawyer or a military officer, and I call you sir, and you get pissy that I didn't use some more specific honorific. You're being the asshat, right? All it is. In urban neighborhoods, the hey miss can be assumed to be flirting or catcalling. Yeah, I would be really careful with using miss. I'm not gonna say like it's a non-starter. I'm just gonna say it's like you just need to be careful about it. How about we just say sugar instead? I have seen people get really upset about like sugar or sweetie or something like that, and it's like I don't have a problem with it. Do you know how many women I've had that have called me sugar or sweetie or honey? And I'm just like, whatever. Like, they're just, yes, it's a little flirty, but it's also like, they're just trying to be nice. I'm not going to like bite someone's head off because they're trying to be nice. And he corrected it to sorry, ma'am. Why not Dame? Dame sounds a little blunt. In New York, most people use slang to refer to women in the younger generation. Example, hey yo, can I get your name? Wait, Ayo, can I get your name? Lil Fine Shit. Or, hey ma, can I get your name real quick? What the fuck, dude? Name's a proper title thing, though, isn't it? Yes. It just like, to me, if you were calling someone Dame, I would be like, did they mean to say damn? It's just not a common term. Literally, you laugh, but you say it just like them. I know, Ash, and you know why I do. The men back then were sages. Yeah. I'll never look, chat. I'll never forget. Okay. I'll never forget. There was a guy that he used to teach like I think it was like speech class and stuff back at the like grade school I went to. My brother was a lot closer with this guy than I ever was, but he was a client of ours at our office, and I think he passed away some years ago. I think his wife is still alive. But on their joint return, because you can kind of like fill out the occupation as like whatever you want as like a listing on a return, and he would have like himself with like his job, and his wife was a stay-at-home mom. Okay, which they were like retirement age, so they were relatively old. And I'll never forget because every year, year in and year out, until the day he died, legitimately used to put on his return that his wife's job was domestic goddess. And that always cracked me up. And I'm always just like, God, that's such an amazing line, though, too. It's like he's just referring to her as like his domestic goddess. And I'm like, damn, that's nice. based, right? Like, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it. If anything, it showed like, oh, she's not like a stay-at-home mom. No, she's my domestic goddess. He's like elevating her at that point. Estia, pretty much, right? Someone was getting late every tax season, probably. But I was always just like, man, that God, that's such a good line. Ah. Hello, Let's. It's a multi-use word. Ah, a multi-use word. I can think of many multi-use words. Like the F word. Do you want us to call you a domestic goddess, Cad? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Chat. Let's go over some shit here. So they actually give us the time and date of the panel. I believe they did. Does anyone happen to have that handy? Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. Yeah, I know it's July 5th, but... Take me all the way, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Wait, hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Should be here. At 1:30, I need the link, chat. I need the proof. I can't include it without proof. Link to Anime Expo? Yes, please. Or their announcement. I believe they announced it on Twitter. I dream of being a domestic goddess. Thank you, AK. Can I ask that you use dark mode on the wiki? I can brighten it. Is that what you want? Yeah, maybe we could use dark mode. Wherever the heck the button is. There it is. Uh... It's 1:30 p.m. West Coast time. Gigik is a host for Honkai Star Rail X Fate Stay Night panel. Of course he is, because Gigik plays Honkai Star Rail and doesn't ever play Fate Go. And that should tell you guys everything you need to know about Gigik. Like, no offense to him, but I don't think Gigik gives two shits about FGO. But people in this community hang on Gigik's every word. And we don't know about pre-campaign stuff yet, right, chat? I think he did play it for a while, if I remember correctly. He played it for his video. I think that's the only provable point. And said anything about the pre-campaign? Okay. Yeah, you lurker. Man sliding into my DMs. Hello, Avila. Ah, thank you, Zoo. Garden of Spreadsheets? Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I can turn this one to night mode. We're gonna flashbang you guys. There's nothing on that for it. Oh, oh my eyes. Okay. All right, chat. We got a lot to get through, so I'm gonna get started here like ASAP. Um, okay, Esther, you here? I'd like to know where it is aggressively. Same. I can hear. Yeah, do you want the do you want me to have the black background or no? If you can, yes, please. Okay. Yoink. Also, do me a favor, Avalon, and send that over to OKS, the sheet. All right. This is tomorrow night at reset. Hey guys, my name's Kadroth, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about everything you need to know for the upcoming anniversary on NA. First things first, we did actually get a notification of NA's actual anniversary date, which is the 25th. We will be getting our limited login bonus courts. It's going to basically be 30 courts for you guys, and that's going to actually start at reset on the night of the 25th. So again, pretty much 25th going into the 26th there should be when we actually get the resources. So don't freak out if it's not immediately there when you guys first log in. Again, this is usually when NA actually celebrates its anniversary, but the sort of like campaigns and everything are delayed until Anime Expo. They do this pretty much every year. This is a couple of reasons why, due to one, our date just is the date that we actually started, but two is they oftentimes, I feel like that about like weekish delay there, because that week allows them to kind of build in a little bit more buffer and move the date closer to JP's anniversary, which usually results in less scheduling turmoil, because that is one of the reasons that we have early crunch in the schedule on NA for events, is usually due to the NA anniversary needing to shift things. Now, just again, if you want a TLDR of everything you guys can gain as of anniversary, this is going to be the amount that you guys will actually get. So there's a whole lot that that you guys can get in terms of rewards for this anniversary. It's not going to be the most lucrative one we've ever gotten, but it certainly won't be a bad one. And you guys will be able to get some nice rewards, assuming that you've been playing the game, doing your milestones, again, your advanced quests, things like that, your free quests that have unlocked, keeping up to date on story, all that's going to factor in. Make sure you guys are doing that stuff. I actually have an entire video on everything you guys can be doing to prep for anniversary in that regard, so make sure you guys go check that one out. I will put a link in the video for that. And then from there, we do know that the actual panel for anniversary and when they'll be doing the live stream, I'll be covering it here for you guys on Twitch, YouTube, Kick, Twitter, pretty much everywhere. But again, this should be the actual panel timing. It's going to be Saturday, July 5th at 1:30 p.m. West Coast time. So that's going to be 4:30 p.m. Eastern time if you're somebody in my time zone. So that'll probably be, I'll be live probably a little bit before that to actually cover the panel with you guys and talk a lot about it. But again, it should be a really big and monumentous occasion. It's FGO's 8th anniversary on NA, and pretty much later next month we should be getting the JP anniversary, which that'll actually be JP's 10th anniversary, so that's going to be a big one as well. So we got a whole lot to look forward to in FGO over the next month here, kind of coming in hot. Now, with regards to the actual anniversary and everything you guys need to know, there is a pre-release campaign. We should be getting news of that here shortly. Again, just some nice stuff like Stargazer's teapots, your embers, your QP, everything here that you can kind of want from that. There will also be a start dash campaign for new players. You guys know I've been working on a new player walkthrough. This is an amazing time to start the game. You're just going to get way more rewards if you do start during this. There's also a limited time comeback campaign for anybody that may have quit and is looking to kind of return. Again, you can see there's going to be some My Room updates, nothing too crazy about it, and yeah, they basically gave a commemoration on JP for the final episode of Fujimaru Ritsuka Doesn't Get It, or Doesn't Understand, if you've heard that. Besides that, we do have memorial quests. These are actually going to be something you'll definitely want to do, at least up until the point that you get the second ticket. Again, I think all of them are worth it. There's some nice rewards here, including a command code. So to me, get them all done, especially because you should have plenty of time. But the tickets that you guys will get, and I'm not talking about the summoning tickets, I'm talking about these craft essence tickets. They're going to be how you get the memorial CEs for this anniversary. Again, I highly recommend it. There's a lot to choose from, and definitely some of these may be more to your liking, some may not. Obviously, I can make suggestions, but at the end of the day, the choice is yours. You get to pick 2 of these and only 2. But again, that is something to look forward to in that regard. They don't really give anything. They're just kind of commemorative. They're not really worth it otherwise. The memorial quests here, as we mentioned, they're not going to be too difficult. They're just kind of rehashing some prior fights that you guys have already faced. So it is what it is. There'll be a couple of little rewards there, some from 2016 and 2017, but nothing too crazy. Again, just a listing of the anniversary Cs here is all we've got on this. There are some requirements that you will have to complete. I did talk about that in the prior video. So clearing Fuyuki would be all you would need to get the majority of them, but some of them have more robust requirements, as you guys can see. And basically, the big ones that I told people to watch out for were the ones for Oku and Imaginary Scramble. You must complete the main interlude for those 2 craft essences respectively, not the original version of the event. You have to do the main interlude. Again, full stop. You must do the main interlude if you wish to choose either of those CEs. So if you haven't done that and you want one of those 2, again, it is the Kama CE and the Yang CE are going to be the 2 that are going to be locked behind that. So if you want either of those 2, make sure you guys go get your main interludes done. There was a high score damage thing released at the time. I can assume that there will be one live at Anime Expo where they're doing it, but there will also probably be one in-game, basically, for us during this time period of anniversary. There's nothing to it. It's just bragging rights, so feel free to take your your chance at it. There is actually no reward for doing it otherwise, so it's totally up to you. We will also have a pre-campaign here, probably for Moriarty and Da Vinci, though I do feel like things like this could certainly change. There's no requirement for them to do it. This is a relatively generic one, but it does include some prior anniversary stuff in it. And you can see there is at least a like separate set of banners, like one for each of them. So nothing too much to write home about, but something to at least know. This was also back then on JP when they put the part 6 of the soundtrack on sale. I would love if they maybe did something more on the NA side for this sort of thing, but it is what it is. And they did tease the summer units, which obviously I'll have a lot to say about in the future. But I can assume that they will go over this during the stream. But besides that, it's just, you know, again, more news of upcoming stuff rather than anything actually like impacting you. So then we get to the 10 great campaigns. Now, again, anniversary is usually about a 2-week affair, a little bit less. In this case, I believe it's around 12 days. So obviously, you're not going to have infinite time to get all this stuff done, but you really are going to want to try to take advantage of these great campaigns. So the first one here is just your standard login bonus. It's going to have a cumulative one as well here. So this is going to be in addition to all the like pre-campaign stuff and everything, but you guys are going to basically get even more rewards, including 10 summoning tickets, a bond grail, a rare prism, and a crystallized lore. So really, really nice stuff, including teapots, foes, and everything. So definitely really nice in that regard. Your second campaign here is the Destiny Order summoning campaign. I would say you could expect this to change, but this was actually the primary like big thing that got revealed at Anni 8 on JP. NA has just gotten this earlier as we had it for our last anniversary. So it won't be new with this one, but they'll probably still include it in their list of campaigns. But they may take it out and replace it with something else. I'm not going to say that that means that you wouldn't get Destiny Order. You will. Just that they may choose to assign a campaign to something else. I don't know. But irregardless, you're going to get the Destiny Order. I'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the GSSR section, but for now, we're going to gloss over it. There's also the Lucky Bag summoning campaign. This is your GSSR. If you don't know what GSSR is, it is a guaranteed SSR unit summon. So this is going to be a guaranteed 5-star. And it's going to be really nice, but the issue at play with both this and Destiny Order are that they both require you to use paid courts. That's going to be a little bit iffy for some people because some people definitely want to play the game free to play. I'm going to say again, the bang for your buck on both of these is that it is really good. But if you don't want to spend any money on the game, there's no harm in skipping it. It's just this has a whole lot of value. In fact, this has far more value than if you were just normally rolling and buying packs. The next campaign here is going to be the limited master missions. As you guys can see, you are going to get some festival themed missions and again, some stuff for the main quest clear as well as the class score unlocked. This is really, really nice. You're going to get courts from this. This was included in that spreadsheet that we showed at the beginning, where there's going to just be a ton of things that you guys can actually get benefit from, but it's going to admittedly be difficult if you've waited all the way until anniversary to do some of this. But still, you guys can see some things just like clearing a quest with Billy the Kid, or with Hozuin, or with Hassan, or with Kiyohime, or Kucaster, or Ibaraki Doji. There's one for Shakespeare, Matahari, Paris, and Mozart, as well as Darius, Duryodhana, or Iskandar, and then Salome for the last one there. For main quest progression, you guys can see it's clear any Arc 1, Arc 2, or 2.5, which is your Ordeal Call, main story quest X times. This is retroactive, so if you've already like cleared all the way to full, you're currently caught up, you've cleared Ordeal Call 1, you'll just get all these rewards. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to incentivize you to clear more quests if you're not caught up. So that is something to understand, that they will kind of force you to progress a little bit here as a means of just getting people to complete more story. that's something to be aware of. Again, you guys can see there are basically the number of missions and nodes you would have to complete. So if you're not all the way caught up on story, yeah, you might legitimately have to do a full 24 missions in order to get all of this. But again, that is their goal, is to just get people to actually get caught up. But it's only if you've cleared every main quest would you get retroactive inclusion. And it also, they did put in a note here, it does not include Heian Kyo, Prom, Epic of Remnant, or the main interlude. So those things are just kind of considered extra. They want you actually progressing the main story, as it does matter and pertain to, again, the game. And at least here, they're going to give you an incentive for 15 courts to unlock one class score sign. Now, again, this is also going to be something that's going to be like retroactive and even into the future. So if you're somebody that like you haven't gotten through LB7 yet, you haven't done the Ordeal Call prologue yet, you can still get this in the future. But they're trying to tell you, hey, make sure that you actually do this eventually, and we'll give you 15 courts. So it's really, really nice that they're doing it. They just want you to unlock it. You don't even have to necessarily do anything with it. But that is the idea behind it, is at least unlock one sign, and then we'll just give you 15 free courts for that. The next up here, we have the extra mission update. This is basically just going to include things like your milestones for progressing further. So clearing Trom, clearing LB7, both the first and the second half here will get you an additional 30 courts. Also, if you do more servant strengthening quests that they've released into the game, up to a maximum of 290. Some of you guys, you may have every unit in the game and you may be capable of doing all of this. Others just won't necessarily have enough servants to hit some of these numbers, so some of these courts may not be something you can get depending on your account status. Just keep that in mind. Again, this is going to be more of a like, hey, they're just increasing the cap so that eventually if you do get that many servants and you do strengthen them all, you'll be good. But this does require you to have actually done that many strengthening quests. There's also an update to the interludes milestone, but they haven't done very many interludes, so they just upped it to 270, and there's another 10 courts for that. The free quests are basically, again, the main story maps free quests, and you guys can see those go up to 270 as well now, which is kind of crazy. We have more free quests than we do story interludes at that point. But basically, you get another 30 potentially from that, so that's something that you absolutely can get. And then there are ones for clearing advanced quests. This is why I tried to warn you guys. Basically, every 3 advanced quests, you are going to get 9 courts. So roughly 3 courts per advanced quest. I highly recommend you get off your ass and do your advanced quests. I know nobody really cares for them too much. People don't want to spend the time on it, but it's a lot of courts. Again, it is retroactive, so if you don't want to do it now, you can get it later, but my advice, if you've got nothing better to do, go ahead and get them done. That way you don't ever have to touch them again, and you'll just get some really, really nice courts rewards from this. There's also going to be milestones for class score unlocks now. So not just unlocking the actual like class score itself, but now actually investing in it and using the signs. Again, as you guys can see here, up to 100 signs, you can get even more courts from this. Basically, every 10 signs, you get 3 more courts. So this is just their way of saying, hey, you know, keep doing your storm pods every day, get that Stardust, and keep unlocking class score stuff, and we'll benefit from it. So really, really, really nice in that regard. So a lot of the courts rewards here for you in Campaign 5. Campaign 6, we're going to be looking at the Bleached Earth quests being half cost, all daily quests being half cost, and all of them being available, as well as a 3 times great and super success rate. All of these are really, really, really nice. Again, I think we've talked about it at least some, but it may not have been something I mentioned on YouTube, but we have actually gotten the sort of like during events, the half cost Bleached Earth nodes. So that's really a nice quality of life that came early to NA. It was not out at release for JP. So Bleached Earth nodes were just perpetually 40 AP, and it really ate into people's available AP per day, particularly during events. We've already gotten that, and definitely now you're going to get it here during the anniversary, so take advantage of it. Make sure you guys are doing your storm pods every day. It's the only way you're going to advance your class score, and class score in a weird way is super nice because it enhances not just like one unit. It's not like you leveling up a skill. It's you leveling up your entire class. So I highly recommend at least advancing in it. I've had multiple people ask me like, hey, what can I do on this front? Like, what should I pick? You can go check out any of my videos, but honest to God, my TLDR advice for you is it doesn't really matter. Just pick something. You can't really go wrong. And JP has kind of given us an ability, at least at this point now, to be able to potentially reset class score. So I don't think you need to worry about this too much. Just go ahead and invest in something and have at it. For campaign number 7 here, this is an update to the Mana Prism Exchange Shop. I talked about this in the prep video, but this is a super important update, particularly for new players. If you're a veteran like me from back in the day, you have a ton of craft essences that newer players cannot have. They physically were not around at that time period to get the craft essence, and maybe the rerun already happened or there was no rerun, and they've just never had the opportunity to get some of them. Starting here and into the future, we're going to get updates that bring some of those old event craft essences back. And some of them are really good. You can already see my chat talking about it. It's just one of those deals where it's a really, really nice thing to have an option for some of these, because some of them are just super valuable to your account. And it's so nice to see FGO taking care of its newer players with this in mind. The problem is, well, yes, these 7 in particular are going to be available at first here. The issue is you're still going to need 5,000 mana prisms per. So that's something to really watch out for. If you're new in your account, you don't have a whole lot of mana prisms, may not be the best use of them right up front. There's plenty of things you need mana prisms on for a new account, particularly those monthly tickets and various other things like foes and stuff. So you're going to have to be a little bit careful with how you spend mana prisms. But yeah, there's definitely some standouts here, particularly Golden Sumo here. This one is a stellar one to pick up for people, but even then you also have invuln pure CEs like Decapitating Bunny here, as well as, again, even just School of Chaldea in general being a pretty nice one for healing. So I think each one of these Cs, look at their effects, judge it for yourself as to which ones to go with. My immediate recommendations, Golden Sumo, but there are plenty here that you can actually make do with and get some good value out of. Just, again, watch out for your priorities on mana prisms. Again, there will also be additions to the Mana Prism Exchange, but only if you've cleared Ordeal Call's prologue. So once you've cleared Ordeal Call, you can then start buying Faux Paw Prints every month, as well as a set of golden foes with your mana prisms. This is, again, really nice. The problem at play is going to be the cost of buying your monthly stuff from the Mana Prism shop starts to get really expensive. If you're somebody that's not sitting on a horde of mana prisms like I am, this is going to be something you're really going to have to evaluate. I have an entire video talking about Mana Prism shop priorities for you and everything that's in it. Highly recommend checking that out if you're, kind of stuck or not able to make a decision on regards to this and whether or not you should be buying it every month. But again, this is a really, really nice update, especially for those of us that have a ton of mana prisms lying around. This is just more resources that our account gets, particularly those gold foes and faux paw prints that take forever to kind of get naturally. On top of that, we are also getting a change to the gacha. This is going to be a benefit to everybody that rolls. However, the benefit is technically not going to be created equal. That is to say, whales will ironically enough benefit from this more than free-to-plays. The change is going to be that for every multi you do in the Quartz summoning, you will now gain 5 mana prisms. It doesn't sound like a lot, but again, if you consider people that roll a ton, they're going to actually get quite a bit of mana prisms naturally from this. But if you're a free to play, you're only going to get it when you actually spend your quartz. So it's better than nothing, but it will admittedly hamstring you since free to play players just generally aren't going to roll as much as someone that's like a whale. So it is what it is. It's a nice change. It's just more mana prisms for you across the board, but some people, unfortunately, will be getting even more. Yes, sorry. One addition to that is 50 mana prisms per multi. It's 5 per summon. So just a clarification there. And again, that's just going to be something that, hey, it's just going to be nice to get, but obviously this will be a change that will impact some people both positively and at least maybe annoyingly, where, yeah, it's just a net positive, but they may be annoyed that they're not getting more. And one additional update, summon tickets do not generate mana prisms, so be careful about that, but it is what it is. All right, now for campaign number 8. This is basically just a permanent half cost to LB7 at that point on. So really, sorry, everything up to 7 will be half cost. So really a nice thing that they're adding. Is just going to make it so that people can catch up easier. If you're somebody that's kind of been sitting on the fence and waiting, you know, again, anniversary is a good time to actually get some grinding done, but it's also a good time to potentially catch up on the story. So with it being permanently half cost as of this point, all the way up to LB7, it's definitely going to be a nice thing. They'll also be adding back more sort of blue cubes, blue prisms, spirit vein stones, however you want to call them. These are the sort of crystallized version of command seals that allow you to revive the entire party and continue again. They're just adding them temporarily back to the shop for you to be able to get some. And it just is what it is. You're also going to get some from logging in. But at the end of the day, if you're already caught up a story, it's not something you have to care about. If you aren't, this is your golden ticket in effect to maybe cheese some of the fights that have otherwise given you some trouble. For campaign number 9, we are getting a permanent storage and second archive expansion. The second archive ones you will have to purchase via the DaVinci shop for mana prisms, but the just normal storage increase will happen for everybody. You won't have to do anything for that. Just an additional 100 slots to your servant and craft essence category and 50 more to your command code category, as well as, again, additionally 100 more slots each for servants and craft essences in your second archive. And then last but not least, campaign number 10 here is going to be our strengthenings. I will also talk about these at the end of the video. Other than that, your other campaigns here, just kind of mentioning it briefly, you're going to have Ace the Savior, aka Tonalico, coming in as your new limited SSR. This is basically Morgan Caster. It's AoE, like, actually edit that part out. Don't put that in. I just realized, it's like, I shouldn't have said that. This is basically going to end up being your AoE caster that is a buster unit. She's got a lot of charge capability in her kit. She hits really, really hard, and it's definitely one of those things that I'm going to say she's not a gotta have, but everybody should be paying attention to this unit. She's a very, very strong unit. If you're somebody that's still looking forward towards summer and stuff, she is actually a summer unit, but definitely some people wait for the summer banners proper and maybe have their eyes set on other units. That being said, Ace the Savior is a fantastic AoE caster unit across the board. You can go check out my video on her as well, talking about everything you need to know and how to work her. But even now, down the line on JP, with things like the fifth append coming into the game, she has actually gotten even better. So there's definitely food for thought there as to whether or not you should be rolling for her. You will get a trial quest for her in that regard, and this will give you 1 ticket, so feel free to mess around with her in that and try to push her to her limits. You'll also be getting a secondary refresh of the Da Vinci Workshop, both for mana prisms and rare prisms. If you don't know what that means, you get a monthly reset already on these things. This will be a second upping of it in addition. So what that means is that you can just purchase both the anniversary edition and the normal edition of these materials. So basically everything in the shop is just back again a second time, even if you didn't already buy the first set. Same deal with the Rare Prism shop. There's also going to be a permanent update to the Rare Prism shop, basically for certain craft essences. If you have used a Rare Prism to exchange to unlock them, if you have cleared certain story thresholds, you will get that Rare Prism back. So it's really, really nice now as they've pretty much gone through and made just about every single one of the craft essences available in the Rare Prism shop having a story clear condition that would exempt you from the Rare Prism cost. This will be retroactive, so if you've ever purchased it in the past, again, you're going to get that Rare Prism back. So it's really going to be nice for some people that have had to pay to unlock these over time. You're just going to get some nice refunds in that regard. And then for the game update, this is when we got the 20% starting member bonus. So again, it basically is just allowing it so that the front 3 units are going to be the ones that get plus 20% extra bond. Now, I criticized this when it came out, saying that what I actually felt like they should have done should have been that they should have applied this maybe to the backline, the units that are 1, closer to master, and 2, in general, that's usually who the player is actually wanting to bond. Instead, this is bonding the characters that you're using constantly, like your meta supports, your big damage dealer, and it's like, those are usually the ones you don't want to bond faster because you want them efficiency-wise to last a little bit longer. But admittedly, it is what it is. It's I'm not going to say a good or a bad thing, but it's definitely something where I noticed the devs were kind of maybe trying to push us towards bonding faster. And in the anniversary interviews, they actually admitted this. So I do think this is something that at least you should be careful of and be cognizant of, but it's not a inherently bad thing. And again, at least knowing what we know now on JP with the bond overflow mechanic that they've put in, not everything's going to be a wash if your unit ends up bond 15. You will have the ability in the future to at least get some value out of that. So to me, this is still okay as far as that goes. Just a little bit of a understanding of it. It's just the front 3 members are again going to get that 20% extra bond bonus. It's going to stack with other forms of bond bonus. Order changing a unit away is not going to change anything because it's who's there at the beginning of battle. And then basically everything else, like I said, it will stack on top of it. And if you put a support servant in the front row, somebody that like isn't yours, like an NPC support or a friend support, they will basically instead it will become 4% extra bond bonus for the entire party. So that's at least nice. This will allow you to potentially bond a little bit of the back line, and that's something that you can kind of take advantage of. So try to make sure you have, if you're worried about the bonding rate of the front line, try to make sure you have the support unit in the front line with you so that they take up one of the slots and confer some of it to the back line. For here as well, this is also when we got the servant list filter function for rarity as well as class groups. It's definitely a little bit nicer as it allows you to kind of like just have a little bit of a like kind of, I'm not gonna say cheat, but like just a kind of like faster way of selecting an entire group rather than just one. Same deal for the extra classes. And then we also got updates to the extra missions that now they'll actually, if they involve a class for things like, say, the tutorial missions and stuff like that, you'll actually have the class logo displayed on the mission board. Really difficult to see, but if you actually zoom in on the picture there, It is very much so just like kind of imprinted in the background of the actual card for the mission. Now, again, the summoning campaigns, like we already mentioned, we're going to get Ace there. She basically is going to come with 3 new craft essences, that they're not rate up craft essences. They're just going to be general pool. There's no rate up craft essence for Ace's banner, and that is interesting nonetheless. But the new craft essences, the only one to me that's actually kind of notable is going to be Chasmatis. This one is all attack scaling. It has starting charge and NP overcharge as well as NP gain. Maybe not the best craft essence in the world, but if you needed an overcharge C with some starting charge, it's not terrible. We're also going to have the Sheep of Orleans getting added and 8 Forged Bloodline. These are kind of updates to existing craft essences. Sheep of Orleans is going to be an update to the Maid of Orleans one that applied debuff immunity. Now it'll also have arts up on top of it. So just a additional interesting thing there. And sorry, yeah, those are the rate up craft essences that we had for this. So that's another one there. Summoning campaign number 2 is going to be a laundry list of rare units. You've got the Trung Sisters, Tamamo Lancer, Constantine, Space Ishtar, Tyra no Kagekiyu, Super Bunyan, Van Gogh, Frankenstein Saber, Saito Hajime, Calamity Jane, Mysterious Alter Ego Lambda, Daiko Kuden, Ushi Wakamaru, and Sei Shonagon Berserker, all on rate up. And each one of the SSRs is going to have a 4-star pairing with them, basically. As we go down the list there, you can actually see. So definitely nice. We're going to have the same rate ups that we had on the first one. So honestly, this sort of banner is always going to be in the eye of the beholder. If you want or really need one of these units, you can feel free to go after them. Definitely a decent time to do so, but keep in mind that you do have obviously other considerations like summer coming up. So if you're kind of riding high on the big pile of quartz you got from Anniversary, just keep in mind you might want to save rather than just blow your load. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's talk about our lucky bag here. So the lucky bag is your GSSR. This is normally where most players will actually spend their money if they spend any. You get a GSSR every year twice. So you're going to get one at the anniversary and you're going to get one at New Year's. And this one is interesting because it's going to be 12 banners divided by 2 groups of 9 female and 3 male, sorted in order of release. So it's going to be another one that's kind of like divided by year. 5-star servants will be random limited servants based off the pool of servants on the banner. And 4-star units will be guaranteed, at least you will have one guaranteed 4-star unit among the limited and story units that are available in that pool. The pools are shared, though, between the same gender categories. So what that means is if you're rolling on one of the female banners, there will be a female pool of 4-star and 3-star servants available. Same deal if you're rolling the male banners, there will be a 4-star and 3-star pool of male units. Okay, so first up here, your first pool is going to be the July 30th through July 29th, basically, of 2020 to 2021. And again, these are JP dates, so basically add 2 years and that should give you the answer. So this is going to be 2022 through 2023. This is going to include Castoria, Himiko, Kiara Moon Cancer, and Abby Summer as well. This one, I think a lot of people are going to roll here purely for the chance at Castoria. I don't blame anybody for that. Obviously, there is a lot of value in getting Castoria for your account. If you feel the need and the desire to, feel free to go for it. picking her up here might save you quite a bit of rolling in the future. And then definitely the other units on that one are not awful. The next one here is going to be 2023 through 2024. And this one is going to be Ibuki, Saber, Pyra no Kagekyu, Doman, and Van Gogh. So this one's a little bit more of a mixed bag, but I do think depending on who you're after here, there could be some good value. Van Gogh is obviously a fantastic challenge unit. Pyra is a boss murderer and very survivable unit. And Doman is just a really, really good unit that has an entire system unto himself. Ibuki's not bad either, so I think this one can be a decent option for some people. Your next one is going to be 2024 through 2025 here. No, sorry, 2024 through 2023. Hold on. What the fuck are they doing with these dates? Because that's 2022 through 2023. That's 2023 through 2024. And now this is 2024 through 2023 again. Fandom, what the fuck? Yeah. I actually stopped the recording because that, like, this is one of those deals where fandom just didn't display this well, and I am really, like, wondering what the F is going on. Written by AI, feels like it. Yeah, I think I'm just going to stop saying the dates, because so many of these are the same overlap of time, and it doesn't fucking matter. Like, okay. Also, chat, what am I listening to? No, bro, I'm not listening to 4 songs of epic drum solo. Background noise? Yeah, I get that, but, like, I'd rather listen to actual music. Okay. All right, so for the next one, we've got a pool of Melisson, Miss Crane, Morgan Le Fay, and Karen. This one's actually a ridiculously good pool. Some people are going to look at this like, oh, you know, like it's got Miss Crane in here. She's kind of the dud. But even still, Miss Crane is actually a really useful, like, challenge support for being able to rotate the party without killing someone. And she's also going to be able to do it without you having to use Plug Suit or in addition to using Plug Suit. So she's not the miss here that I think a lot of people would probably think. But you've got literally 3 other really strong characters. Melisson's obviously fantastic, and a lot of people know that by now for a lot of your Lancer needs. Morgan is a fantastic Berserker just for either AoE capability, 50% charge, or working in the Invincible/Immortal comp. And then Karen is, honestly, at least until summer, the game's strongest AoE ruler. And even with summer in perspective, there's times where she's still the strongest AoE ruler. So at that point, you have to look at this like, yeah, there is really not a miss here. Miss Crane probably is the least important of these 4, but she's still a good pickup, and the other 3 options here are just loaded. Your next pool is actually going to be Okitan Saber, Koyenskaya, and Summer Kama. So Summer Kama Venger here. This is also a really, really stacked pool. And again, there's only 3 options. This one, I can't even really say you have a dud. Obviously, if you already had a Koyenskaya here, this would maybe not be the best pickup, but even still, you could also use Koyenskaya as the actual damage dealer, and it would definitely benefit you. So getting any of these three could potentially really help your account. Okitan Saber is a fantastic quick looping with Black Grail AoE Saber, and then Calm Avenger is just a fantastic hard-hitting, charm effective AoE Arts Avenger, so a lot of value there. Your next grouping here, maybe not quite as high value as some of the others, but sneakily good as well. You've got Izumo no Okuni, really good single target caster. You've got Jack de Molay, who's still a very capable 50% charging AoE quick curse-centric foreigner that can also charge the party. And then you've got another AoE foreigner as a buster unit with 30% party charge and overcharge. And again, animal characteristic traits rolling around here with Koyanskaya of Darkness. So this one's also a pretty decent one, especially if you maybe were like trying to get your hands on Koyanskaya of Darkness, but you didn't really want to roll. Could definitely be of value to you. The next pool, I think this next pool is a little bit more hit or miss, and this one's going to really depend on how you view the individual units. For me personally, none of these units are bad, but I think some people might find some of these units to be maybe not what they desired or who they were after. Obviously, you've got units here like Bazette that are just fantastic and insanely strong and capable, and also the Trung sisters that have a lot of capability as both a damage dealer and a supportive unit. I think both those two are probably the top traction here, but Bakin and Super Bunyan are not bad in their own right. They're maybe just overshadowed in their class by a couple of other units. So the choice is yours if you want to go after this one. Your next one here is another insanely stacked pool. This one is Ibuki Doji Berserker, who's an AoE 50% charging Arts Berserker. You've got Summer Scotty here, which is going to be sort of the enhanced version of Scotty. Very similar kit, but a little bit more offensive minded. And at that point, that's definitely going to be good for, kickstarting a quick system on your account if you don't have one. You've got Arcuid, who's just a really, really good 100% charging AoE Buster Moon Cancer, and then also can charge the party after her NP. And then you also end up having Proto Merlin, who just works perfectly for either challenge environments or being a part of like something like the Invincible / Immortal comp there, as she can kind of just allow it to work in an arts format. And I do think that this one, you really can't go wrong with this. Like, no matter who you get, if you don't have any of these units, this one is fantastic. Your next pool here is going to be Burrito Mart, Huyan Zhou, Sendo Rikyu, and Cuckoo. Cuckoo. So, sorry, too many servants all at once. My brain's having recall issues. But basically, this one, I'd say this one's a little bit more of a mixed bag. To me, the actual breadwinners here are probably going to be Cuckoo and Sendo Rikyu. Sendo Rikyu is actually again, Black Grail looping AoE quick Berserker. A lot of people kind of undervalue her. She's really, really capable. And then, obviously, Cuckoo is just absolutely insane when it comes to damage output as an AoE Buster Foreigner. So a lot of people really like her and really want to get their hands on her. There's a lot of topics of discussion about her this year because of that. And that's not to say that Huyan Zhou or Burrito Mart here are bad options either. They are just not nearly as strong as the other two. They are both very serviceable and capable units in their own respective classes. Both of them are AoE quick units. But again, the choice is yours if you want to go after this one. And then the last female pool here is going to be Medusa Saber, Durga, the Popes Johanna, and then Tiamat. And this one, in the same degree as like the prior one, nobody here is bad, but there are some standouts. Tiamat is obviously ridiculously strong. And then depending on account needs, the other three here can be really good for you and really broken in their own respective classes and capabilities. I think Popes Johanna is maybe the weakest of these four, but even then, she actually has quite a bit of supportive capability and can work as a really good like damage dealer and looper herself, or as a like support unit to kind of power somebody else's loop. And then your 4-star units, you've got a whole lot here. Frankly speaking, to me, the standouts are obviously going to be your LB6 characters, your summer characters. These are going to be the ones that people maybe have their eye on. Units like Creamhild as well, that are maybe a little bit harder to otherwise get. But yeah, I think the lineup for females is definitely going to be good. And since you're guaranteed to get at least one 4-star here, and I say at least one 4-star, that 4-star could become a 5-star. So it is what it is. But yeah, it's like, I do think there's a lot of value in that. Now, looking at the male banners here, again, you can see we do have some flex units. So your first male banner is going to include Muramasa, Taira no Kagekiyu, and Doman. That one's definitely not a bad one. Muramasa is fantastic as an AoE arts looping saber. He is sort of like a Swiss Army knife. He can do just about anything in any situation. So he works really, really well. And honestly, his damage is his only concern, but his damage, because he can black rail loop, is not bad. And then Taira, as we already mentioned, can be a really good survivalist type cockroach unit. She can be a boss killer for you. And Doman himself is an AoE quick alter ego. It has quite a bit of capability for buffing chaotic evil units, including himself. So double Doman comps are definitely a thing that he can work with. And he also has death proc in his kit. Next up here for the next pool, we start to get a little bit wider. Now, some of you may like a wider pool. For me personally, in a GSSR, the smaller the pool is, the better. The bigger the pool is, the worse it is. I would prefer instead a smaller pool because you have a less randomness to it. So this one is a 5-unit pool. We've got Charlemagne, Sakamoto, Ryoma, Lancer, and then Constantine as a writer here, and then Moriarty, Ruler, and Oberon. I think we know why they did this. They loaded this one up purely because it has Oberon. They did him dirty. They didn't want you to easily get an Oberon. Oberon is the breadwinner here. He's absolutely the best unit. He's the unit you should be going after if you don't have him. He's absolutely fantastic. As for where he stands, I'd probably go after units like, Castoria or something first, but Oberon is a very close second and very, very good for a lot of accounts, and just in terms of charge capability and damage amplification. He's a fantastic unit. The other ones here, I'm not going to say there's a like standout necessarily. A bunch of them are not bad. Moriarty Ruler's not bad. Ryoma's gotten some buffs. Same thing with Charlemagne. To me, the standout in a bad way is actually Constantine. He's gotten a buff that's helped him out a lot, but he's still probably not the one that most people want to get here. So he's kind of the dud in the group at the moment. And then your last male group here is going to be Takasugi Shinsaku, as well as our man Tez, and then obviously the sussy priest himself, Gregory Rasputin. So Rasputin is honestly a really good like challenge unit, but don't expect to use him too much for like farming capability. Takasugi doesn't, to me, stand out too much right now. I believe he's arguably one of the worst SSR archers, and I don't think he's bad. He just doesn't really have a niche of his own at the moment, and most of the other archers out damage him. So to me, aside from like his cooldown and crit stuff that he can do, I feel like most of the other options are just better. The standout to me here, though, is going to be Tez. Tez actually facilitates quite a bit from a challenge standpoint, quite a bit from a farming standpoint, and quite a bit from a supportive standpoint. He is an all-rounding type of unit. He does a whole lot of things, and that's going to be one of the reasons why I think he's kind of the breadwinner of this group. He's really, really solid. I highly recommend him if you don't already have him. He's a fantastic unit, though admittedly some of you guys may already have the Valkyrie welfare, and it may not be a big deal for you. With regards to the 4-star and 3-star servants pool, I think this is another maybe mixed bag here. You've got some rare units like Canis in here. You've got the absolute GOAT himself, Don Quixote. But I think, like, aside from this, maybe if people didn't roll, they could get a chance at Duryodhana or Percival. But I think realistically, this group is okay. There's not like a huge oh my god, I'm so glad I got this type of unit here, other than, honestly maybe Percival, but even then I feel like this group is just kind of middling, at least with regards to what could have been available. And that's going to end up being your GSSR. Now, in order to roll the GSSR, you have to have premium currency. It's going to require why? Is it 12 or 15 this time around, chat? $15? We're sure. It's always been 15? I thought they reduced it to 12 at one point. The special one was the 12? Okay. Maybe that's what I'm remembering. $15 premium Saint Courts. So again, premium equals paid. So you need to have at least paid Saint Courts. What does that mean with regards to purchasing a pack? Whenever you purchase a pack, there is a portion of the pack that is paid, and there's a portion that is bonus. Bonus courts is considered free courts, not paid. So be very careful about that. Make sure that you actually get the amount that you need, enough for your GSSR. Don't kind of swindle yourself by buying a smaller pack and then having to buy another pack on top of that. So check out the amount that you're going to get. Make sure you read, but you need 15 to do the GSSR. Now, next up, we have the Destiny Order campaign. This one is a big one. This one is similar to a GSSR. We already got this in a prior anniversary, so a lot of you guys should already be familiar with it, but just in case I've got some new people, or there's people trying to kind of get into the game here, the Destiny Order campaign and what this does is, this is like a pick your own GSSR. You can pick 9 different 5-star servants to slot in to your sort of loadout. And you're going to have one of each of the 7 base classes, and then one each for the groupings of the extra classes. You pick one unit for each of those and slot them in, and you're guaranteed to get one of those 9 units. There's no guarantee as to which one you'll get, but it will be one of the 9 that you choose. So in that regard, you at least get to control what you could be spooked by. Maybe it's you don't get the one you want, but at least you got somebody that you had slotted in. So in that regard, the Destiny Order summon is a very powerful tool for just narrowing things down and getting a lot of value. I think if you're somebody that's like a veteran of the game, a whale, you've got a lot of units, Destiny Order still has value, but it's maybe not as good. But if you're someone that's new to the game, it's absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend it. What's the catch? It's twice as expensive as a normal GSSR. So it's going to cost you 30 paid courts instead of 15 now. So if you wanted to do both this and the GSSR, you would have to spend 45 paid courts. So that's maybe the target number that a lot of you guys are going to try to achieve, but it's something to keep in mind for those of you guys that are trying to be a little bit more spin thrifty, maybe not trying to spend a whole lot of money on the game, or maybe trying to save until summer. But again, GSSRs in general are really good value. Destiny Order, you get to narrow it down even more. So I think there's a lot of capability and value in this. Though admittedly, there's a lot of value in GSSRs now since they've made the pools a lot smaller. So again, it's up to you if you want to actually go for this or not. But keep in mind, there's a couple of notes about this one that will probably still be in play here. Ask will not, aka Tonalico, will not be pickable as one of the units as she is on banner. Again, you can only pick one servant for each of the 9 slots, so the 7 main classes, extra 1 and extra 2. And then players must fill up all 9 slots before they're able to move on in the summoning process. So you have to pick somebody. So I've seen people before where they said like, oh man, there's not a writer I want. What do I do? You have to pick someone. That is the problem that you're going to have. And then out of the multi that you get, only one of the 9 servants is guaranteed. You can get more, but only one is guaranteed. And again, it can be of the remaining like spins. If you get like the one guaranteed and it's like, oh, well, I could still get someone else. It doesn't have to be somebody else from your pool. So that's something to consider. It's just from the general pool at that point, any summonable servants among limited, story locked, or permanent besides Ace can be summoned at that point. For 4-star and 3-star servants, any summonable servants among limited, story locked, or permanent servants are summonable as well in the Destiny order. So that's something to understand. You're not going to be able to get units like Artorial Lily or Habitrot that are available via FP summon, but just about everybody else is there. So this one's a little bit of a Wild West. You're going to get who you get, but in terms of maybe getting a second option or a second unit, you're not guaranteed. It's possible they could show up, but it's literally anybody other than the exceptions that we mentioned. So really interesting in that regard as to what can kind of show up. And fandom at least does show you the pools of available units. So it is interesting if you want to kind of make note of that. Particularly, you can actually slot in units like Draco on your Destiny order that are otherwise not available on the GSSR. So that is also something to keep in mind. I don't know why, but they've done a weird thing with the GSSRs where they've tried to keep the beasts off them. But they are at least available via Destiny order if you try for them that way. And then last but not least, we have the Servant Strengthening quests, Part 16. So every anniversary, we get a good chunk of upgrades, strengthenings to our units. And usually the best group we'll get all year comes via the anniversary. It doesn't mean you won't get one-off buffs throughout the year that aren't good, but the best grouping is usually at anniversary, so we get a whole lot of high value. For instance, day 1, we literally get the buff that's going to turn Salter into a Black Grail looping monster and the hardest hitting AoE saber. So that should give you at least a little bit of an idea of what we're up with here. The next buff on day 1 is going to be Jaguar Man's buff to her mana burst skill. This one is okay. I think like this helps Jaguar Man, but she's still in a bit of a weird spot. It's a little bit more capability to operate on the forest battlefield and involve things like crit stars. Day 2 is going to be Bradamonte and William Tell here. Bradamonte is going to get a buff to her charge skill here that's going to functionally increase it from 20% up to 30, and then also give her a 30% power mod versus earth enemies, as well as 30% NP gain rate. So definitely a nice buff, really helps make her looping more fluid, more capable, and gives her a little bit of a damage niche to stand out in as well. William Tell is going to end up getting a buff to his arts card. This one's really weird. I'm just going to say it kind of changes the way his marking works, and it basically makes it so that it's a little bit more like consistently applicable. It allows him to be able to exploit this a little bit more frequently as opposed to having to wait for the enemy a lot of the time. So still a good buff for him. Definitely helps out his damage capabilities. It's something that he really needed. Day 3, we get some really nice buffs for Mama Raiko and Hans. So let's start out with the Hans buff here actually at first. It's a buff to his basically his human observation here. It used to just be party crit up of 40%, and now instead it is that, but it's 50% on top of star generation rate increasing for good alignment allies, NP generation rate for balanced alignment allies, and NP damage for allies that are evil. It's also going to increase the critical damage of allies that don't have any of those three alignments. So realistically speaking, this is just a buff to everybody that Hans is used in conjunction with, and it's just going to depend on what their alignment is for what buff they get. So definitely a nice upgrade for him. And then essentially to me one of the bigger buffs still coming out of this anniversary is going to be this buff to Mama Raiko here. This is actually a sorely needed buff for her. It's going to be an upgrade to her second skill that is going to give her 30% charge and increase her buster up to 3 turns. With it all being on a 6-turn cooldown, this allows her to operate within the bounds of the Koyanskaya system. This brings her into the modern era of FGO and allows her to become a farmer once again. That was something she was prized for back in the early days of FGO, and she will become another force for that here, particularly given the fact that her third skill is a very effective power mod against servant enemies with earth or sky attribute, as well as demonic enemies. So really a whole lot of niches she can hit, and her having the capability to actually 3-turn effectively and have more uptime on her buffs is certainly welcome. So again, a huge buff for Mama Raiko there, turning her into another farming powerhouse for her. Day 4 is going to include a buff to Karna Lancer and Okita Jetkita, basically Okita Summer Assassin. So the buff here for Karna is going to end up being to his charge skill. It's something that a lot of people wanted for him for a long time. This is going to fix Karna's major issue, which is that his charge skill was originally 25%. It's now going to be 30%. It's a nice flat, even amount on a 6-turn cooldown. The same deal, just like with Mama Raiko. Karna comes into the modern era finally able to work within the Koyanskaya setup, at least double Koyanskaya setup, and works well now with it. It's also going to increase his critical star generation rate and crit stars, as well as critical damage. So just an all-around solid buff. He could maybe still use a little bit in the damage department, but it definitely helps him out a ton. And then the buff to Okita Assassin here is another fantastic one. This is the upgrade to her third skill, and it basically goes from being just a skill that's quick up for 3 turns of 50% with a demerit for defense down on herself to it still has all of that, but now it has NP gauge charge of 30% as well as NP gen of 30% on top of that. In layman's terms, this turns her into a Black Grail Looper again. So really, really nice for her to get another upgrade here that allows her to work in that capacity. Day 5 is going to be an upgrade to Anastasia as well as Kiyohime Lancer. The Anastasia buff basically is a buff to her charge skill. It is sorely needed as it basically originally was 50% charge and had a 60% stun chance for 1 turn to now it stuns all enemies for 1 turn instead of just the one enemy that she was targeting, as well as reducing all enemies' arts resistance for 3 turns by 30%. I saw a lot of people that kind of were mixed about this upgrade, but this upgrade's actually really good for her. Not only does it make her more consistent with looping, this actually also allows her to be able to apply her steroids on better turns than she could before. So this does enhance her damage quite a bit. This does enhance her looping capability quite a bit. Black Grail is absolutely on the cards for her because of this change, and I do think it's a really, really solid upgrade. Kiyohime Lancer ends up getting a buff to her first skill that originally just reduced the enemy's critical attack chance for 3 turns by 30% to now basically it's still going to do that, but it inflicts burn for 5 turns to them, and it will charge her own gauge by 20%, as well as granting a self debuff on attack buff for 3 turns that will inflict the spread fire status that increases burn damage by 50% additionally. So the burn up that she gets for 5 turns is 1,000, so it's just going to be a really nice upgrade for her. Also, keep in mind, she does inflict burn with her Noble Phantasm, so she gets a little bit more firepower here, but more importantly, she gets a charge skill that she just sorely needed to kind of hang with some of the other single target Lancers. Now, on day 6, we end up getting a buff to Summer Abbey and Mandricardo. So, Summer Abbey's buff is going to end up being one here to her second skill. It is the Mass Hysteria buff that turns it into Midsummer Nights. Originally, the skill was her Terror skill. It also reduced defense by 20%. And to a large degree, this is still going to be the case, but what they've added to it now is that she gets Buster performance up of 3 turns. This is a 30% increase, and again, this is on a 6-turn cooldown, so yes, in a Koyan Sky setup, you can double the skill up. This just makes her damage more consistent, especially since she was such a debuff-centric unit. This gives her now a multi-turn buff that she can carry through the waves with her and allow her to kind of stack this over a 3-turn duration and basically improve her damage. This is a sorely needed buff to Abby Summer that makes her more consistent. Mandricardo, on the other hand, here gets a buff to his Brink Shot skill. Now, originally, this skill, the way it worked was that whenever he would attack for the one attack, once he had it triggered, he would get basically 50% attack up, and then he would kill himself at the end. So, not the best scenario, but the upgrade here is going to increase the attack for an entire turn rather than just one, and it's also going to increase his own critical damage for 1 turn. In addition, it's going to delay the kind of ability to kill himself until the end of the turn. So Mandricardo gets an entire turn out before offing himself rather than just one attack. It is a much, much nicer and more usable version of this skill. It's a huge quality of life improvement for Mandricardo in that regard. And then the final day, and this was one I still couldn't believe at the time, was a buff to Squirtoria and to Gawain. So basically, in the end, we ended up getting a NP interlude for Gawain here. Certainly a nice upgrade for him, as he really needed this to hang with some of the other units out there. Particularly, obviously, has strong competition now from like Barghast and other units. But in general, I think the upgrade to Salter just blew him away still. But it's still a good upgrade. It's going to increase the amount of damage he does. He now skill seals enemies with his NP. Sorry, he already did. But now, in addition, he is going to increase his own critical damage of Buster cards by 50% on Sunlight Battlefield for 3 turns. And critical star absorption of Buster cards by 300% on Sunlight Battlefield for 3 turns. So it's just making him more synergistic. It's absolutely like linchpinning on that Sunlight Battlefield. But since he can bring the sun within his own kit, that is not a huge concern for him. And Squirtoria, they actually ended up taking the game's best looper and giving her charge. I'm still really not sure why they decided to do this. I'll take it. It's absolutely fantastic buff. But if anything, to me, Squirtoria needed damage, not more refund or charge capability, and yet they did it. So now this just improves the scenarios that she can be used in. You basically can have her maxed out with a mana loading append and the 30% charge, and you functionally turned her into being able to start from a 50% starting charge standpoint without even the assistance of a support. So starting her out from 0 and getting her to loop is not difficult at all, as she is, again, already somebody that just had insane refund potential. So now she's got a 30% charge skill. She also gets sure hit for 3 turns thanks to this buff, in addition to the arts up of 3 turns and the party-wide defense that she already had on this skill. This just turns this skill into an absolutely cracked version of itself, and frankly, it just makes Squirtoria even more of a dominant force for boss killing and draining, even in comparison to what she already was. So again, it was a truly insane upgrade. And that is going to be a wrap for all of the anniversary coverage. We've now covered all of the banners, all of the GSSRs for you, as well as all of the strengthenings for you. Let me know which banner you'll be rolling on, which GSSR you'll be picking, and which of these servant strengthenings you guys feel is actually the strongest. I think I know the obvious answer for most people, but I'll be curious to hear which one you guys are at least looking most forward to. Anyways, let me hear about your thoughts for Anniversary 8. Good luck with your summons, and again, may the courts be with you. Have a good one. I will see you guys live on Twitch to cover it. And again, I'll see you guys later. There you go. That was a long one. That's all I can say. That's a long one. I'm sorry, okay. Feel free to edit out the moments where I am just like sitting there, like not doing much. Nicely done. Thank you. Yes. I mean, again, I know you guys wanted me to cover it. I felt the need to. I'm sorry I stumbled on the middle parts there with like the banners and stuff and like the summon seas. That stuff. So the whole reason I stumbled here is because normally, and this is me not reading. So it's like whenever anyone accuses me of just reading off the wiki, guess what? Oh, whoops. I realized I turned off the wrong thing there. Yeah, whenever someone accuses me of just reading off the wiki, you should know I don't. And this is actually proof. Because normally when I see a blurb about the craft essences underneath a new banner, and they are new craft essences, do you know what the blurb normally says? It says they're not available. Like, that is to say, they're there in the banner, but they're not the rate up. And that's what I assumed this was saying, because I didn't read. So like I said, whenever someone's like, oh man, all CAD does is read off the wiki, no, this was me going entirely off of like memory and entirely off of like the way things normally are and me not reading the wiki. Which should tell you guys that I don't just sit here and read off the wiki. If anything, the wiki is just organization for my thoughts. And like, instead I'm giving you guys everything verbatim from my mind. There's points where I will occasionally read where it's like finer minutia, like shit like this. I'll gloss through it and I'll try to like recount anything I feel is important to you guys. But otherwise, I'm usually sitting there talking off the top of my head. Wiki is more like flashcards. Not even. Like I literally, like, I'm sad that I had to actually sit here and hover over the unit names for some of these to like recall them, but this is just something that happens when you start listing off. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to. Try listing off like 100 servant names in a row, and you'll be surprised. Like, if someone just flashes up the picture of 100 servants in a row, you'll be surprised as like after like the 50th one, you can't fucking recall the name off the top of your head. You're just like, oh my god. As you're just like your brain is getting clogged from trying to recall everything too fast. Did I see the special guest for the Fate X Star Rail collab? No, but someone told me it's Giga, and I just laughed because it's like, of course it is. Cat is firing bullets of knowledge at us? Yes. I asked you on Discord, can you answer? Oh yeah, sure. Let me. Yeah, I might be able to get you that, okay, but I can't guarantee. Let me actually get that sent to you here. I gotta clear out my video folder while we're on vacation. I guess I'm in a weird way. I'm using vacation to like catch up on a bunch of stuff that I've just let like go crazy here. But chat, what are you guys most looking forward to about anniversary coming up here? Oh, today, yeah, okay. Okay, they're uploading to the drive, okay. Ah, the Bond update, not kidding. Cat, what is wrong with you? Aniplex account link hope? Bro, yes. God, I hope so. I really hope so. I love watching the stream and Annie stream with other fans. I do too. I always look forward to Annie every year because it's such a positive time. That's one of the reasons why I guess like it's such a downer when people are like in there bitching about the Annie while it's live, and I'm just like, guys, please just enjoy it. Holy shit. 3 times experience up chance. I got units to get to 120. Yeah, I'll actually probably be abusing that myself. Because I'm now ahead in Grails, which I did do my Grail casting chat. Just a reminder for yourselves, do your Grail casting before the end of the month. But I did do mine on both servers. But like, man, it is one of those deals where I feel like a lot of people just don't take advantage of anniversary, and I'm guilty of it myself on like JP, where it's like I'm not as farming involved on JP, but like, oh my god, like in A I'm like a crack weasel. I'm just gonna farm to my heart's content. Yeah, have you ever thought of joining HSR? Yes, when it first came out, and I'm not playing HSR anymore. Actually, I was talking to CZ about it, and I saw CZ poked his head, and I don't know if you're still lurking, CZ, but hello. But I was talking to CZ about it. I think CZ was saying that they're gonna be buffing units. At least I think that was HSR that he was talking about, that was surprising to me. I was like, good, like they actually need to do that, because if they don't, I think there's just major problems. I think if you end up in any of these gacha games and you're just not gonna touch anything and you're just gonna keep releasing new units, of course you're gonna get power creep. I mean, FGO has buffs, and I don't think FGO does a great job of it sometimes, but FGO's got power creep out the ass right now. So I can only imagine in a game where they never buff anything that the older units are just defunct and the newer units are just the best. And that's always the status quo, which is weird because in a weird way, I guess that doesn't make me want to roll. It's like if you know that the unit that you're going to roll for is eventually just bad, you know you're in an infinite loop of having to roll. Get button happening? Oh my god. We're got a calculator sheet for the hunting quest coming up after summer. Oh, nice. Yeah, let me know if you do. Yeah, is it alright if I reveal some ways to get free paid money for spending in FGO or just any mobile? Message one of the mods first. Because I'm a little sus of that. Also, hold on. Sorry, chat. We're getting double audio. Okay. Maybe it was ZZZ that he was talking about. I don't remember. CZ's usually who I ask about MiHoYo games because he does play them all. And I think CZ himself would admit that he has issues with the MiHoYo games, but he still plays them and enjoys them. So it's like, he's who I'm going to go to for like a rational take on them. Because I know CZ just plays a lot of gacha and enjoys it in general. Right? So I trust CZ's opinion on that stuff. Discord message or Twitch whisper? Just whichever mod you can get a hold of. Heavy course correct. I think ZZ is in the right direction and Genshin just exists. I'm going to tell you guys that MiHoYo games are all currently running their course. And I feel like the MiHoYo fandom is, whether they realize it or not, probably becoming jaded. And they will continue down this path until yet another game is released. Because unfortunately, I think MiHoYo has groomed their fans to expect that. What? Huh? RST was trying to ask a question. One of the mods, Ash. What about Honkai? Like HS or Honkai Impact the Third? I'm sure people still play it, but like I never hear anybody talk about it. It only comes up from some of you guys that I know are big MiHoYo fans. But like to the same degree that I assume like nowadays I assume FGO is not like talked about a whole lot. So like it is what it is. I think honestly that's in a weird way that's one of the best things that has happened to FGO is that FGO has moments where it peaks and everyone's like, "Oh, what's this?" and like people check it out and stuff, as opposed to when FGO was the dominant force, it was just constantly getting shit on. Constantly. And then like even in the early days of like MiHoYo kind of coming up and growing there, I think there was a lot of tit for tat. Nowadays, I think FGO is just, it is what it is. Everybody accepts it for what it is. Now, I see that. I still see people that have, like, really unreasonable takes about the game every once in a blue moon, but it's thankfully not a too big of a deal. SMH. This explains where Avalon's been. SMH. We're losing them, chat. Okay, so chat. Today, we are going to continue here in the new player account in Septum. That's going to be the goal, is get as far as we can in Septum tonight. We don't have a whole lot of time, but we're going to try to do it. I'm going to do my daily summon here. Nothing too much. I did get a pretty hilarious pull. We did get Shinggong there, actually. It's not bad. I did get a pretty hilarious pull on this account, and that's that despite me having plenty of like 3-star units that I don't own yet, I actually have managed to acquire Saber Lily. So you can also see I'm now starting to get NP5 of some of the 1-star and 2-star units. So now I'm actually having some units that I can burn. I'm going to show you guys a little bit about, like, this is why you do and don't do that here real quick, too. Oh, my God. We did get Shakespeare. Shakespeare was another new and good pull. Just combining copies. Besides that, all I've done since the last session, I did a couple of, like, Ember Gathering and Caster Training rounds, I think. But admittedly, one of the big focuses for getting up to current in story is going to be that we actually do want access to better nodes so I can maybe potentially farm some materials. Because at play currently, one of my big stopgaps that's limiting me is actually I can't get pages, forbidden pages. So I have a little bit of an issue on that front. Like, we've also got more stuff coming in here. Some really nice rewards from like login bonus and stuff. And I've been keeping up the login bonuses. I've been making sure that that we're kind of staying on top of that. But you can see I still got plenty of tickets, plenty of time to redeem those. So I'm not like in a hurry, because right now at the moment, none of the stuff that I need is actually like a big deal. There's also a half cost QP for enhancement right now. Enhancement just means leveling, not ascension, not skills, just leveling a unit. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Looks like we got a weekly done as well. Okay, and let's just go pile right into Septum. So again, highly recommend reading the story. Septum, not exactly famed for its writing, but still, it's an important story to understanding maybe the Roman side of FGO. And we're going to progress through it about as fast as we can. I have done a little bit of leveling on the side, but nothing too much. I think the big thing that I got was I don't remember if I talked about this on stream, but I did get the you know what, let's use Pingun here. And there you go. So there's Saber Lily just kind of in my back line bonding up, because she does have some upgrades that can be done. So I want to get her up and leveled, because she's actually going to be probably one of my best options here short term for an AoE Saber. But essentially, the big thing that I did was I got a couple of those evocation units, those welfares, leveled up all the way to maximum. So I got some benefits for doing that, but it was also because they were, at the time, due to the Evocation Festival campaign that was available, they were 2x success rate. So it worked out quite a bit for me in that regard. This is a 1 out of 2 node. There are 6 enemies here, though, so I'm just going to kind of stagger my way through. And actually, let's do it like this. A little bit of overkill. Nito is definitely somebody I need to get leveled up a little bit more. She needs it for the damage, because if I fail the damage proc, it's definitely a little bit of an issue. It's one of those deals where if you don't have the damage capability, and let's make sure we start out there. If you don't have the damage capability, it's going to become a problem later on down the line, because you're not going to death proc everybody. And so you at least need to get a unit where it's like, oh, I maybe death proc 2 of the 3, but I have enough cards available to still finish off the one that I didn't death proc. And this is overkill now, so I'm literally just going to send that. You guys get to see another Ibuki Doji NP. So then with unlimited code work. See, I haven't even looked. I haven't updated my support list. That's actually something I need to do. But that's probably something I'll do offline. Or maybe I can like wait until the next session where we actually have a little bit more time and talk about it with you guys. Because again, I feel like walking you guys through the summoning process, the support list process. Like, there's various parts of the game where it's easy to say what people want to do, but seeing it in practice, hearing someone talk about it and why they're making the decisions that they're making can be really educational for you guys. I think that's something where like everything kind of just gets lost in the mix, but the more you talk about it, the more people realize. And again, you can see here, I did not for that first mission have a support unit that I could take. So there was just nothing I could do about it. I'm going to take my favorite unit ever. because I can here, and we'll get to show her off a little bit. She's not particularly like the strongest unit in the world. I love her. I love her design. But yeah, no, it's just I feel like so much of FGO relies on technical knowledge and like understanding individual units and at least maybe seeing and hearing the decision-making process behind the scenes. I feel like that's maybe one of the issues that people run into, is that they just don't actually ever get to see that. They think how they would play, but they never get to see how another player would play. At least not on the minutia like that. Their Medusa high priority? No. Just bringing a support 120 Nito Avenger with a kaleidoscope and everything? Yeah, you can do a whole lot. So this is really funny. So I literally have a Lancer against Sabers here, but it's such low level. It's like I'm just gonna like go ahead and pop my like attack buffs here, and it really will not matter. I'm probably just going to easily like card my way through it. And actually her quick card's rather strong, so should be fine. There you go. And there we go. There's the all archer wave. And now we get to Totsugeki them. And there we go. So a lot of like you leveling up in some of these scenarios where you maybe don't have a story support and stuff, like how do you choose? Well, again, you can look at the classes that are at play. You can try to estimate. You can go look at a guide, see what's in the node if you're really concerned. But again, early on here in FGO, my advice, take whoever the heck you want. Just kind of try to like get in the mix and make it work. Take units that like you're interested in, you want to know how they work, and you'll be a smarter and better player for that. I honest to God advise just kind of like going in there and experimenting, because you'll learn a lot about the game by doing that. For instance, let's just go ahead and slot in a Draco here, and you guys are going to see a very rare class in FGO right now, the Beast class. It's actually the game's newest class. And this particular one, each beast class unit is different. This particular one is effective against the 7 base classes all at once, almost like a Berserker. So being able to like experience that and get a feel for it, of course I get none of her cards, is important to the game. Being able to feel your way through a node can really help you out. As well as in general, just gaining more knowledge of the game, its systems, and its units. Unit knowledge is like, at this point, probably a good 80% of FGO's total like knowledge base. And it's one of the big reasons that people will turn to content creators, because most people just don't want to commit that stuff to memory. I don't blame them, but it's one of the reasons that people come back to me over and over again, is because I keep a lot of this crap in my head. So it just is what it is. And people, I think, the more you know about the game's units, the more you know about their intricacies, the way they work, the situations that they're effective, the teams that they work well in, the smarter a player you're going to be, and the better off you're going to be. Even if your account's not robust, if you know a whole lot about the game, you can get through a whole lot of difficult content. There we go. There's Draco cards, and I can finally show this off. So this is a concept I've talked about before. This is not going to be the best use of this concept, but I feel the desire to show it to you anyways. Draco is a single target Noble Phantasm. This is an AoE wave. Now, Draco's damage is so much that the stuff here is not going to be a problem, but the way I'm going to show it to you is that there is a way you can alternate your cards. So if I were to do like all 3 of these cards right here, like if I were to select her last Buster card here and send it right into this this Lancer enemy, it would just send all 3 cards into the Lancer enemy and kill it, overkill it. Maybe you would get some NP gain if you had, you know, slotted things in differently. but you can stagger cards if you have a functional way of breaking them up. And I've talked about this. So like, for instance, I can make it switch targets if I were to, say, select a Nidochris card. But one of the ways you can do it with a single target, I can use a Brave Chain and use the Noble Phantasm to break it up. So now the first card will go into the Lancer on the right, the Noble Phantasm will go into the Lancer in the middle, and my final card will go into Caligula. Is this smart what I'm doing? Probably not under most circumstances, but you know, Draco should be able to kill Caligula. So being able to stagger cards and being able to figure out ways that the cards work a little bit more effectively can allow you to get away with things you maybe couldn't otherwise do. Now, part of the reason it's going to work is because, again, Caligula's not got that much health, and assuming I get even remotely decent damage, which a little bit overkill at this point. This is a level 100 Draco, so yeah, there you go. That crit just annihilated him, but I would also get the extra attack on the third unit as well. So one of the ways you might want to think about it too, it could be like you could put a Buster card first, her Arts Noble Phantasm second, and then maybe like a Quick card third. Not going to be as strong as the Buster card, but that would allow it to form a Mighty Chain, which gets you all the effects of that, and it would also allow the extra attack to be buffed as such. So definitely an interesting thing. And that's one of the reasons I just kind of wanted to demonstrate that to you guys. Even with a single target unit, you can still clear an AoE wave if the circumstances are right and you manage to be able to take advantage of it. Just a mere 100 times its health. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Told you it'd be very dead. It is. But it's important to be able to demonstrate concepts like that to people, because I think a lot of people just don't ever deal with it. And so actually, I'm going to back out real quick here just to show you. Of course, it's going to take a second to load. So you can see, especially with some of these early singularities, some of the like later unlocks for interludes and strengthenings you might have for somebody, particularly the interludes will show up. And it's really kind of funny that this is a thing here. You may not be able to click on them and you may not be able to do anything. It'll tell you what the conditions are. And it's like, oh, I have to complete the singularity to beat them. That's probably not all the conditions. There may be other conditions, like I may have to get them to bond 5. I may have to level them up through their third ascension or their final ascension or something like that. So there will be other conditions that are required for me to do this. But if you see these here and you're wondering why they're here, that's why. They are extra things that will further enhance the units that you have. Unfortunately for you guys, the game has given me Umu as a support unit, which now means that I get to just absolutely abuse this for more FP. There is nothing wrong with that other than the fact that, yeah, I'm gonna do that. You know what? Why don't we show off Hoku Saber here? I haven't really shown her to you guys prior to this point. I'm gonna give her a starting charge CE, and we're just gonna go right in. And again, the whole reason I'm taking the story support, in some cases it may actually be good for you too, but in this, my entire reasoning is just taking the story support gives 200 FP, taking a friend support's only going to give me a couple. So like, this is just me min-maxing this for more FP. It's going to take me longer. I'm not going to get to use as many units. In fact, I'm not even using the unit in the front line, but I am going to gain benefits for doing so, in the sense that like, I will literally just have more FP available to me. Here's Hoku Saber's attack. You can see she's a fantastic unit. Obviously, animation and looks-wise, welfares are actually kind of stunted compared to some of the others. But who cares? If you really like the design of a unit, feel free to grab that unit to go after it if you're trying to roll for them. Or again, if you decide that like they are your favorite unit in the game, there is nothing wrong, realistically speaking, with grailing the unit. That being said, my advice, maybe wait a little bit, get more of your account online before you consider grailing. And I'm going to go ahead and use her Double Phantasm first here just to show it off, but this is ultimately going to come down to a Nido NP. There you go. Hokusai is based off the famous Dojin artist Hokusai. So there's a lot of beautiful artwork in her novel Phantasms. There you go. Both of them death procced. Story progression and bond level 5 for interludes. Yep. Yeah, I think there's only one exception, but otherwise getting a unit to bond 5 will fulfill any bond requirements a unit has for unlocks. The exception is Angramanyu, or Angry Mango as we like to call him. He's the only one in the game that I can remember that has a bond 10 requirement for one of his upgrades. It is what it is. It is meant to be a little bit more difficult because of that. Again, you can see here, I don't have anybody that I have to take. Otherwise, we're going to take a Arjuna Altar in here and just kind of run up the score a little bit. Dojin artist, yes. Oh, they are like the original Dojin artist. They better never do a bond 10 requirement ever again. I mean, they probably will at some point, but yes, it's not the end of the world. Just gonna stagger cards, making sure that we appropriately damage everything and kill. This is Arjuna Altar. He's a really strong AoE Berserker. You're gonna see me using a lot of Berserker in these mixed nodes, just because I know he'll be effective and we'll get through the node cleanly and easily. Mighty Chains also help with that, but admittedly, if you want a more damaging Mighty Chain, you want to put the Buster card last. And the TLDR I can give you guys on Mighty Chains is, if you want some logic as to how to figure them out, because I already explained a little bit of them to you in prior ones, but it's like, how do I determine what I want to do? Well, you know, part of it's going to be like, hey, carding order and like the strength of the units that you're facing and maybe the strength of the units that you have. But later on down the line, usually the cheat sheet for Mighty Chains is, think of what you want to do. So do you want to gain more NP, generate more stars, or deal more damage? Whatever that goal is, layer the cards in order to achieve that. So make your last card the most damaging card if you want to deal damage. And then the second card, the second most damaging card. And then the first card, the least damaging card. Same thing if you want NP gain, you want your most NP gaining card to be the final card. So always make the final card the best. Always make the starting card the worst at whatever your goal is that you're trying to achieve. And this is just a 3 out of 3 node, so send it. Could card it through, but let's show off the Noble Phantasm again. For me, make a fully awakened Manu. Yeah. And the Ganger should have less cost than a 2-star. Yeah, they do some weird stuff with that unit. There we go. We got Waver to bond 5, so doing Waver's upgrade will be a thing. And actually, it's probably available to me. I haven't even checked. Waver might be the first unit that I have the upgrade available. Because he's already bond 5, he's already level 80, so he should qualify. Heck, let's go see. Not that it's a priority for me to do. Waver's upgrade is to his Noble Phantasm. It's nice, it's just not the end of the world. And you can see, you'll see all units that you have. I'm not seeing his yet. It may be that he's not considered permanently in my account yet. Because again, he's the new SSR, so I think there is a requirement that you have to like finish him. But I don't remember what the requirement is for that. I'll just go right back into Septum. Keep doing it. Keep chugging right through the story. It's just taking Artoria. It's not going to matter. Most of the stuff, when you're taking like a high level support, level 90, obviously, for some of these early ones is enough. But like, even then later on, you could be taking people that are like level 100, level 120, you name it. Usually they are just going to brute force some of these early singularities. And like I said, it's not really until you get to like basically maybe the latter part of America, which is the 5th singularity, that anything's going to be a big deal. This is an interesting little conundrum here. Let's change which card Artoria's attacking. Not that she wouldn't have been able to do enough, but get ourselves the quick chain for a couple more stars here, and then laugh at the node, as we're not even going to have to use Noble Phantasm. Carding is almost always faster than Noble Phantasming, but Noble Phantasming usually is more consistent damage. Crits are RNG, star weights are RNG. It's not that you can't do things to manipulate that, but generally speaking, the way people farm is using Noble Phantasms. At least in the current state of the game. That may change in the future. We have things like AoE attacks that have come into the game now, so it's entirely possible that stuff like that could change. But at least for right now, Noble Phantasming is usually the meta for farming things. And carding is RNG based, but it can be really effective in certain situations. So if you have a node like this where you're just like, oh my god, the node is super easy, there's really no issue that I have taking it on, carding your way through it's just absolutely faster. Absolutely going to be the fastest way to handle it. Level 60 in Bond 5. Yeah, like I said, I assume it's because he's my SSR pick, so it may be that he's not considered to be complete yet. And I'd have to go look at like what's required for that, unless you're saying that's what the requirement is to make it permanent. It'll be interesting to see this account take on LB7. That's a long way off still. I mean, I plan to kind of accelerate story here now, but it's not going to be too much. And to be honest, I don't necessarily even need to record all the story with you guys. Maybe focusing more on some of the like bigger battles would be a little bit more of a thing, but as long as there's still a lot of like information I can give out to you guys and talk to you about, I think this is worthy of showing you. Nothing in part one's a big deal anymore. Yeah, I do agree with that for the most part. I think like for a new account though, getting to some of the later singularities in part one, there are gimmicks that can cause them trouble. It's not that it's difficult for a veteran player of the game, but with a newer player, they might not know how to handle it. And so it may cause them issues until they understand. You know what? Space Ishtar. Space Ishtar is a sort of a joke servant version of Ren. She's really strong, actually. But she's from the quote-unquote servant verse, which is like the outer space / Star Wars / sci-fi version of the Fate universe. And so 1 out of 3, we have ghosts. I'm gonna attempt to death proc. Saber Wars 3 win? I wish. I hope we get it at some point. There you go, we got the death proc on all of them. And again, one of the reasons I'm wanting pages so bad, not just for a unit like Waver that has really strong support skills, but also for Nitocris. Her charge skill, her death proc skill, all of those are going to be contingent upon me very quickly here getting some forbidden pages in my account. And that will really, really help things out. We definitely have some stronger enemies, particularly the ghosts here. So one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to pop that. I'm going to pop that. I'm going to pop that. It's going to basically be my 3 card types up. You can see I only got Quicken Arts from that 3rd skill, so it's unfortunate since I literally have a Buster card here for her. But it shouldn't be too bad. So what I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to lead with her quick card. Since low damage, we're going to have it damage this this other Berserker here. Then I'm going to stagger over here to a waiver card, let that reset to the front one, and then we're going to do her card, even though it'll be neutral against the ghost. Should have some decent firepower since we have both attack buffs in play. See if it's strong enough to kill, and it is. So basically, I put the card that I needed to be strongest last, and I structured the order of the way I was hitting the enemies so that it would also be last. Now we're actually going to go ahead and give her the buff. We're not going to do a Buster buff one because she doesn't have it. I'll actually do the quick buff one because she did get it, and I don't really have any card type up bonus at the moment. We're going to show you guys basically her Noble Phantasm. Esgri, thank you for the follow. Welcome. And some of these units are what we like to call loopers. Space Star is one of them. A looper is someone that we generally consider to be somebody that can return their Noble Phantasm. So using their Noble Phantasm back to back to back turn. This is one of the farming metas. Most nodes in the game are 3 battle nodes. So there's 3 waves that you have to fight through. Getting somebody that can loop their NP, basically NP in triplicate, will allow you to quickly and easily get through the node with not a whole lot of stress. So loopers are very, very strong in the game, particularly if you can manage to get them strong enough to handle a node. Space Ishtar is one of them. She's really, really good. She has multiple stacking effects in her kit. You're not going to see too much out of that early for me, because right now my only real support is Waver. I do have Shufu. I can level her up and work on her. And that will definitely be something I will do probably in the short term here soon. But admittedly, just with the 2 of them, I'm going to either need another support or a loopable unit of my own. And right now, Nitocris doesn't really qualify for that. So, whoops. I mean, we could take Merlin, but Merlin is another support unit. He's a very good challenge support unit. But what we're going to be looking for here, since we have an assassin in the node, is we're actually going to be looking for potentially an AoE caster. Somebody that can deal a lot of damage. Paco got me right here. This is an NP2 Umu caster, and this is basically her summer form. Definitely nice. We've got all casters otherwise in the front line, so it shouldn't be too bad. And we're still at the point where not really going to be encountering boss battles too much here, so it's not a huge deal. Umu caster's a Buster-based AoE caster, so primary focus is damage, but that's, most offensive units, their primary focus is damage, so it's not really much saying that. Looking at these cards, these are not great cards. I could potentially Noble Phantasm here, but it's just a 2 enemy wave. I think the choice is kind of yours. I don't know what's in the next wave, so I can start popping buffs, but I think the safer way, and probably to teach you guys this, is when in doubt, card out like the first wave. If you're worried about your 3-turn buffs lasting long enough, there is no harm in kind of punting for a turn. And the reason you want to handle it this way is because if you're unsure of a node and you're not sure you're going to be able to 3-turn it, and you think your buffs are going to fall off, it's better to front load that unsurety than to back load it. Because if your buffs fall off early on the final turn, that's usually where the highest health enemies are. That's bad. You don't want that. That can get you in bad circumstances where you can maybe take, 12 turns to clear the node instead of 3, or maybe you end up wiping or something like that. You don't want anything like that to ever happen. So now we're in turn 3, but we're in wave 2. And so now I'm reasonably sure it's like Nidochris is going to kill these, and if she doesn't, I'll probably just death proc it. Or even if she doesn't death proc, I'll probably just card it out. Okay, so at that point, I would rather delay on the front end when enemies are weaker than lose all my buffs on the back end where enemies are strongest. And that should make content easier for me to tackle. Not even just farming content, just in general, any type of node in the game. If you take it with that approach, it's going to be better. Now, I didn't even use her charge skill here because in the end, it just was kind of unnecessary with the amount of carding we did. But basically, she has a 50% charge skill, and it actually has 50% NP gain up if her health is below half. But most of the time when I use her, it doesn't get below half. Mumu Caster is a nod to basically Nero Venus. And you can see she dealt solid damage. There's a little bit of damage variance between the various classes. For instance, Caster and Assassin don't seem to do as much as some of the other classes. This is just due to the way they've weighted things, but that's not necessarily like individual class weights. But that's not necessarily a big concern. Like most of the time, things are still going to work out appropriately. If you're taking a Caster against Assassins, which they're effective against, you're not really going to notice it. It's just going to be like, okay, I did enough damage. The game usually is balanced with that in mind. This is all archers, so we're going to take a Lancer into this one. Yeah. You give me an opportunity to use her game, I'm going to use her. And it's funny, the game has very sparingly, already as of Septum, given me a quote-unquote story support. That is more of the norm. Usually you only get story supports in very select circumstances. Particularly boss fights, you may see them. If you're worried about the boss fight, just take something else. The extra FP, not a big deal, if you ask me, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Okay, she's gonna kill that. I'm just gonna let Waver kind of get his 2 cards in and hopefully deal damage. This is actually kind of a crap chain of cards, but it just is what it is. I'm not worried about it. This is more just carding my way through. Then we're gonna Noble Phantasm with Nidochris here on this wave. And you can get like pseudo boss enemies in the middle waves. Usually your hardest enemies are in the final wave, but you can still get some like servants and stuff in a middle wave and things like leading up to it. Just be careful of that. The game loves to do that to you at times, tries to catch you off guard, tries to break its patterns up so that you don't end up doing the same things over and over again. And it's just something you're going to have to prepare for. The more robust your account is, the less that's going to matter. But this is what it is. Gonna do the triple buster chain. Not that anything's going to live. I think this is frustrating as LB7. I remember people complaining about LB5. I remember people complaining about LB6. Which is 6 was wild because like you had arguably the best support we've ever had in the entire history of the game, and people were still complaining about it. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things where in general people don't like having too many story supports because they feel like they don't get to use their own units, and I completely understand that. To me, if you're going to use story support, or if you're going to put the story support in there, if you're the devs, you need to make sure that that story support matters for some way, shape, or form. Give them some sort of like unique buff, make them impactful for the reasoning that they're there, and that will do a whole lot. Feels like a little bit of overkill if I take this. It actually has the healing craft essence on it. But let's take let's take Muramasa here. Totally looks like Shiro if you're familiar with him from Fate Stay Night. That is by design. He is a Shiro face, as we like to call him. There's a concept of faces in FGO. A lot of this comes from the Artoria face designation, but other units have gotten other variations, so people have started calling them, you know, like a Nero face, a Elizabeth face, a Shiro face, a Nito face, you name it. So it doesn't really matter. It's just how people choose to signify the units. To stop with the 888 MP2 no Cs. Yeah, I wish they had gone back and done that for more of them, but they at least fixed most of the craft essence issues with them, and I think that was good. But yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do more. You know what? We're just gonna card. There's again, it's faster. You guys have seen the Noble Phantasm plenty of times, so if I can make it through. We have an entire loadout here of his cards. We're not going to get to see his... You know what? No. I'm going to send the Noble Phantasm. It's too good to skip, especially... I don't remember if it's this form or if it's the other one. Let's show off Muramasa's MP for you guys. A little bit familiar. Form has 2 variants, yeah. And Muramasa is another one of those arts looper type of units. Usually your looper units are arts. Quick units can loop as well, but a lot of them tend to have NP gain issues depending. And then Buster units, people will refer to them as a looper, but usually Buster units are brute forcing the charge, and that's how they manage to 3-turn. So in the strictest sense, they're not refunding back to full, but it doesn't really matter. Most people are, you know, nitpicking if they get upset about that. Another mixed node. It's recommending Archer, but honestly, this is, oh boy, a Berserker node. Yeah, you know what? Let's show off a Musashi Berserker here. Unfortunately, it's not her American bikini form, which is my favorite. That's her second ascension. And you can pick and choose which ascension you want to use for units. I do think that's maybe something that a lot of people gloss over, but like it's a taste thing and it's also an enjoyment factor for the game. So feel free to like hold down, depress on the unit, like kind of like you'll see me do right here, like where I can click on the unit. If you do this in your normal like menu setups, you can actually change the form, the appearance that a unit will take. As they ascend, they gain new appearances, and that's something you can do. Nothing I can do really here in combat other than kind of look at like some of the stuff that the unit has, but most of the stuff's already like known to me at this point. That's not ideal, but sure. Oh boy, Waver with his stellar 4K carding. Okay. Now, Musashi, unfortunately, does not have charge. So, she is a refunder, but she usually needs some really good, like, NP gain or arts up type of supports to make her refund really well. I don't have that, so we're just going to use her Double Phantasm once here at the end. There you go, we death proc the left one, but not the right two. Like I said, another easy way to tell is if you start seeing damage numbers pop up, it means you didn't death proc. If you don't see any damage numbers pop up, you death proc that enemy. Though that does change depending on the unit. That's just the case with Nitocris Caster. But that's because Nitocris Caster's death happens before damage. Some other units, it happens after. And that's actually ideal because that will allow them to gain NP off of the damage that they're dealing, as opposed to like Nidocaster. If she does it, you just literally don't ever get any refund because the death proc is happening before it happens. This would be using assassins here for this, but let's see if I can find that Musashi since I didn't get to show it. There it is. Wish we could have the other costumes. Yeah. FGO's got some really good costumes, but unfortunately, it's actually I assume it to be actually really annoying to do costumes with certain like sprites and stuff in this game, and so as a result, I think the devs don't spend a lot of time on it. A lot of people want them to do it, but it has become a like source of frustration for the community, where they want the devs to give us more costumes and outfits for units, but they don't seem to have the people like there to actually do it. This is a 1 out of 1 node. This means I can kind of just send it. Tashi Berserker's third skill here is basically invuln, pierce, attack up, and defense down, but it also is a 5k HP demerit. So a little bit spicy there, but as long as you know you're gonna kill, it's not a big deal. She does have a dodge skill too, so, and you can also just go like boop and just heal it back. We're gonna take the Arch Chain with her. That face always strikes me as like kind of derpy. It's just like really, really like happy. There we go, bond 3 on her. Costume from Samurai Remnant would be cool. Yeah, you're not wrong. They have no monetary incentive for it. Yep. And that is one of the reasons why I've proposed like them doing paid skins before, but obviously like some people really want that, some people really don't want that. It would be a polarizing issue in the community, for sure. And so it's like, to me, I'd be okay with it if it meant we got more outfits, but I totally understand why some people just don't want the game more monetized. Okay, we can take Umu again. And yeah, I mean, Umu's actually probably one of the best ones we could take, except for that. So we're just going to do that. But you can see, we're already making really good progress. We're through like section 7 here already. I'd wager we're maybe like halfway done with Septum already, which is not that insane. Some of the earlier singularities are a little bit shorter, but it's also like we're making good progress. We're chugging right through. And it's something I've told you guys before. It's like our intermediate goal here is like, let's get story cut up with as far as we can. The deeper we progress into it, the harder it's going to get. We will definitely get stonewalled on an early account. The key is to not get disheartened by that. You're gonna get kind of shut down at certain points. There's not a whole lot you can do. But the big thing I can try to instill in you guys is that not the end of the world. You have various mechanisms in the game to allow you to work your way through content. And one of those are your command seals. You can use 3 different types of command seals. The first 2 only spend 1 command seal. It is basically going to be that you can say, release a unit's noble phantasm. So it's just going to increase the charge by 100%. The second one will fully restore one servant's HP. So if you had somebody that was close to death, you could use a command seal to kind of power them up. But each one of those cost 1. If you spend a command seal on like anything else, you're not going to have enough for this last one. And what this last one does is it will just say, hey, did everybody die? Did you just basically lose the node? You can literally just revive everybody for the cost of 3 command seals. That's going to use your entire day's supply, but it's kind of just like a do-over, and you get to continue from where you were at. So it's really, really useful if you're struggling to get through a certain fight. My advice, go ahead and use command seals, get through it, but keep in mind you do need to learn the game and you do need to get better at it. So if you start noticing that you're repeatedly having to use command seals to complete stuff, that may be your sign that it's time to go work on your account a little bit more. Time to see if you can roll some units. It's time to see if you can level some units. It's time to see if you can skill some units. And if you can't, maybe it's time to go farm so that you can. So that's, again, the game's way of telling you. You get 3 command seals back a day now. It used to only be 1, but they have updated that, and NA got the quality of life early from the JP side. Also, you'll hear me bring up the JP server of FGO quite frequently. That is because it is the primary server for it. And actually, here you go. I'm just going to go ahead and use a command seal since I didn't have enough charge on Hokusai to bring her up to full. Wait, did that... I wasted one. Anyways, I wasn't scrolled all the way up. So now she's all the way up to full. And for me, it's not going to matter because we'll literally like in stream and the stuff will reset, so it's not a big deal. But again, you're going to get all 3 back, and like I said, getting them back on a daily basis is much nicer now. But yeah, you'll hear me talk about the JP server. Just for reference, the JP server is 2 years ahead of the NA server. NA is treated as like the global server. JP is 2 years ahead. That is quite the sizable gap, but it's also a lot of clairvoyance that we have. Basically, the NA server follows the JP server to the letter pretty much. There's a couple of exceptions that, you know, I'll talk about at future points, but one of those particularly is with the anniversary, but it's not like a bad exception. It's just things happen at a different time. So at the end of the day, it's really nice because we basically have an entire roadmap for the next like 2 years at any given moment of what units are coming out, which event is next, like what story is coming up that we might need to prepare for. So it's really, really useful. Clairvoyance is the #1 tool for playing on the NA server, and it is something that the JP server does not have. You need to be very, very careful with it. This is interesting as I do not have a really good leveled up Lancer at the moment. My best one is a level 22 Roma, and he's not awful, but may not be the best circumstance here. So we're just going to throw in our Berserker and kind of go to town. But yeah, at the end of the day, I see a lot of people that get jealous over the JP server, which is kind of funny because there's a lot of tit for tat between the 2 servers, communities going back and forth. You get a lot of people that say like, oh, the NA server is never the main server. It's always the like redheaded stepchild. And then you have the NA server sitting there saying the JP server is the beta server because oftentimes the NA server gets things better than the JP server had it. So it's really an interesting like dilemma at this point that we have. I'm not gonna say either server's particularly better. For me personally, I prefer the NA server because it's what I started with. It's also the language that I speak. So it literally makes things easier for me to play on. But feel free to go play on the JP server if you want. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're maybe wanting to get that 2-year sneak peek, see all the cool stuff as it comes out. I often cover it a lot on my channel so that you guys stay informed, but it is not a huge deal. You definitely don't have to worry about it too much. Ooh, so the only quick card here is from her. What I could do though, I can pop that attack up since this is a 1 out of 2 and there's only 3 enemies remaining. Pop her attack up, and then I'm going to choose an all arts chain. And basically I'm going to let the weakest card be handled by Waver's arts card, and then the strongest enemy be handled by her. And there you go. Now she got even more charge off of that. And there we go. Now we have enough charge to bring her up to full. Choose the Buster Chain here, but it's not really going to matter. She's easily going to handle the main enemy, and then the secondary enemy should be handled just by her card. Probably won't even need a Nitocris card. If you do a full revive, servants come back with full HP bars. That is a very good point. Full HP bars, full NP bars, and literally everything kind of just being like maxed out for you. So it's really good. It's definitely something you can abuse if you're worried about a fight. And like I said, go for it. There is another way you can full revive, and that's to pop a quartz. My advice, don't do that. That's not worth it. Using a quartz to revive is you using your gacha currency to revive. If you're having to do that, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot for acquiring things in the future. The only other way besides that is there is a temporary item in the game that we like to refer to as blue cubes, blue prisms. Basically, they're spirit vein shards, and what they are is they are a like sort of crystallized form of 3 command seals. But like I said, they have limited time durations, so it's maybe not the best thing in the world. Well, we have a Rash, but I haven't really leveled anybody else up otherwise, so we're just gonna leave Berserker in there. I get more SSRs on JP, so it's better facts. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that's always going to be subjective, right? Like, it's literally just going to come down to luck of the draw and like which saber or like which server gets better luck. I've seen people insist things like, oh, NA's luckier. I've seen people insist things like JP is. It really just boils down to that. There have been brief moments in time where like they made a change to like the summon rate, and that influenced and impacted things. But largely, this has become a non-issue. Okay, we actually do have enough charge. I had to wait for the stuff to go away there. I'm actually going to give the attack up to Nito, because Jalter's not going to need it to kill Caesar there. But the golems may present a little bit of a problem for a level 53 Nitocris. So we're going to put Nitocris NP first. I guess I could have actually done Berserker's NP. It would have given me more death rate on Nitocris, so it may have been better had I done it the other way around. But there you go. We death procced one of the golems anyway, so it didn't matter. And the other one only has 43 health. So that's enough that the final card will finish. And then Faber goes down. Again, it's Julius Caesar, so... There is a story to everything, I assure you. I hope you are reading it. Pretty sure they increased the hit rate on the Grand Berserker campaign? They didn't. You just got really lucky. That's all it is. Okay. And that actually spent all of my AP. That is a rarity on this account. That is like the first time this has happened where I have legitimately run out of AP. Normally I just level up and it's not a thing. I do have plenty of blue apples already made because, contrary to popular belief, I have just been sitting here like making them as opposed to like spending them. So I haven't been like kind of like constantly grinding off stream or anything like that to make the account stronger. The account is as strong as it is. So this is probably a good ending point for the walkthrough for this section. And like I said, we've already managed to progress quite a bit through here. Probably end up going up to Britannia, then coming back down. I don't remember if it goes back to Rome, but then we end up coming over to Iberia over there. So quite a bit of capability. And again, this whole time we're unlocking, there you go, additional interludes and things for people, as well as free quests. So as I've mentioned before, that's going to be how you're going to farm stuff. It's also going to be, eventually you'll want to come through and complete them all at least the 3 times for the quartz reward of each node. definitely worth some value, but not something you have to fast track by any means. It's totally up to you. He's been making them and playing Blitzball instead. You're damn right. Okay, chat. Let's end it here, though. This is actually just a good stopping point in general for tonight. Let's see who all's on. Who all I give love to. I am going to send you guys over to Mr. Sideswipe. He is playing some Stellar Blade, so go check that out if you guys are interested to see what the game is like. I played it a while back on PlayStation 5, but definitely go ask that man how he's doing. And again, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be doing even more stuff. Maybe recording more. I'll have to think about that, but yeah. And I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope you guys had a fun one. Go give Mr. Side my love. I'll see you all tomorrow.